Oh, Si, thanks for popping on, my friend. Obviously, just been watching. Obviously, I see you on the Andy stream. Andy's just finished now. Obviously, he's not had Mr. Pico. Mr. Pico's in the house. Thank you for popping on, my friend. Let's just get rid of the evidence. I've been having some Ritz crackers, and Bronson is there today because we had no sandwiches today, so we resorted to the Ritz crackers. So literally trying to get there. I mean, he won't leave me alone there because he honestly thinks he's going to get a Ritz cracker on that front. So yeah, as obviously I was only on for try to do some testing because I've got some new multimeters recommended by Mr. Pico himself. Totally recommend it. Getting this one. This one ends up being the put the mic on the Ritz. Oh, put the mic. Actually, it's not a bad idea. And then you can have Bronson trying to read it. No, Bronson, you're not having the bloody Ritz crackers. He keeps nudging them. He keeps walking backwards and forwards, and then he keeps nudging them because he knows there's. He knows there's Ritz. He knows there's Ritz crackers there. So I keep going backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Hey, what do you want, you big goofer? Oh no, he's got on the chair now. So Mr. Bronson is now on the chair. Oh no, he's come back off the chair. He now wants the crackers. No, he's backwards and forwards with it. Bronson, leave the crackers alone. Your crackers enough, boy. You don't need the crackers. Yeah, I've got to give him one cracker, guys. He's just going to drive that. He's just giving because he ain't had no. Oh, and I sorted the microphone out. Yeah, you're right. It was only coming out one channel. It was on bloody stereo at the end of the day. That's what was doing it. I had to plug it back into my phone, go in the settings, and then alter it to mono. So now I can see it now. It was coming out on one side of the channel. Yeah, 100%. Oh, fuck, crying out loud. So, I'm going to get rid of the cable. Won't need that. Who don't like Ritz crackers? Oh, excited. These are brilliant. These are got a really lovely taste. Totally. I like these and the cheese ones. The cheese ones are actually quite nice. So, I know I've got nothing to fix and no one else is going to be on. So I thought, I'm going to jump on because I've not been on for quite a while. What? Oh yeah. No, what? And as Andy's saying, favourite soap, what? What? Yeah, what? So yeah, I forgot. That's one of his famous sayings. So yeah, obviously, I wanted to do some live demonstrations on doing. This has come off the Technics, not the Technics. Is it? Oh, it is the Technics. It's the Technics stereo digital sound processor with it's built-in graphic equalizer. Nice with cheese and pickle. Oh, don't. Oh, I'd sit there, I'd eat an whole bloody block of cheese and just a pot of pickle just on that alone. You know you get the munchies on that front. So, obviously, these boards, Mr. Pico knows what I'm talking about. Obviously, because he strips these all day long. So, obviously, these boards are going to be full of hundreds of bloody capacitors. And they're tiny. And you can actually see how many I'm talking about. I think there's got to be over 50 caps on this board all day long, or close to, not far from nearly 50 caps at the end of the day. And some of these are only like 10 microfarads. I've already dotted a lot of them with red because the ESR, even though the meter reading's there, the ESR is off the chart at the end of the day. Now, obviously, none of the multimeters are going to give you the ESR rating. It will just give you the resistance of the capacitance of the capacitor itself. So it will try and read it. The good thing is this will read in circuit, which will cut the time down massively. And I do need something that I've got more than one board to test, because I've got the linear record player that it's got the same issue. Obviously, capacitor problem, because we can't adjust the pot. Well, straight away, I'll put that down to bad caps, because again, caps act like a filter. So if these ain't up there near enough their true capacitance, it can't then pass that information on to the next component. And if you've got more than one that's failed, it's going to affect the rest of the circuitry, and that's exactly what tends to happen. Even though this works and there's fouled caps on there, the problem that I've got is as soon as I started to, it's okay on the flat, but as soon as I start adjusting and start going like bass, heavy bass and all of that, this starts being affected. It comes very tinny and distorted straight away. I've had that issue before. It's capacitor related, and that. So, and the trouble is to replace 99%. It would be easier just to replace all the caps, but then when you get in to the stage where it's going to be very costly, this is where you want a good multimeter to actually see how many that's failed. Out of all this lot, I've counted so far 9 that's failed on that lot, without the front display, which is here, which again 2 caps have gone bad. Only 2 on there that have gone bad, which is this one and the 2 underneath here. So these 2 have failed right underneath, which I'm going to try the multimeter on that, because my other multimeter wasn't reading everything in. And don't run away that a good multimeter won't read all of them, because depending on the capacitance on the capacitor, it could be too high in value. That multimeters only have a certain range for them to be picked up. So if it's too high, the multimeter will struggle. You might actually just get an open line or no reading at all at the end of the day, because obviously it's trying to search, because a lot of them have got auto find range on them, which helps because you don't have to adjust it, but there will be a limit, and I've not looked at the manual to see what the limit is on a capacitor anyway, and you have to put it in capacitance test. So there's not many on there, which is great, because like you said, this one also does, which a lot of them do, even this one here, this also does like AC DC. This one does AC DC, and you've got the range finder on there, all the way up to 1,000 volts. I don't think this one deals with 1,000 volts. I think it only does 250. Oh no, this one does do 1,000. I've just had a look at the bottom. So they must be, some of them do on standards, but obviously I was struggling with that multimeter, so Mr. Pico recommended that I get a couple of these different types, and this one's quite a good one as well, because you've also got auto detection for live cables, which will give you notification if the cable is live. That's great in its own, because you could have a break in the cable, and again that could be misdiagnosed on the board, trying to worry about where the problem is, and you're blaming the board. You could actually have a break in the wire, so which people don't test. So again, this is a little key changer to have in a function, and for very little money I would say that's quite an handy feature, because again, most multimeters, which you've got ones like this and this, won't give you that type of reading. So that's actually a nice little touch. I like the idea of that. You know, if you're going to do a thorough test, you've got to go over everything, including cables, because cables can fail and break and that. So yeah, the first thing I do want to test is, obviously I'm not going to desolder all of these pins to get to them caps, because that means I've got to take all of these pins out. This is vacuum sealed. You won't be able to buy this if this breaks. It's going to be a nightmare. So the chances are that I've got them caps looking at there. I want to do some ESR testing to see if these caps are failed. I think they have. I did put on there two bad caps. They're supposed to be at 100 UF under the display, have gone bad. When I checked them, I didn't have these multimeters, so I now do want to check to see if these caps are officially bad on this one. So before I start on this one, let me check this one, because this one is quite sensitive. This is why I think working on tails, like a very fluffy, I've got a nice fluffy one. This one's for a car, but it's nice because it comforts and it doesn't break anything actually on the, you know, things like glass and things like that, and don't scratch it. So yeah, so first things first, let's put it in And Mr. Pico recommended that this had a backlight. Yeah, he's right. BL backlight, which now obviously you've got a nice blue sort of display, and it's actually quite nice. But as all multimeters, you should always zero them anyway as you start, because again, like this one, it should zero. Yeah, open line. So we've got an open line. Let me pull the camera down at the end of the day. This is the next thing I probably will be getting to sort out, will be a decent camera, because I'm using this 4K camera, which is great, but it's a webcam. It hasn't got no zoom function on it at the end of it. So I've just ordered a thermal imaging camera, and I've got another multimeter that's also got a rangefinder and ESR built in. Both of them are pretty expensive. One's retailing at 100 and the other one's about 110. But, you know, give or take. But it's worth it if you're dealing with this line of work anyway. You're going to need the tools. So, hopefully, this now should be able to test these two caps properly, and this will give me a lovely clear display to see if these caps have gone bad or not. If they are, let me get me torch. And I think these caps were 100 microfarad if I was reading correctly. Bloody hell, they ain't made these easy to get to. I can't read them, it's the way they've done the value. Yes. They look like 100 nanofarad. 3 volt. Is that all they are? 3 volt. Wow. 3 volt, 100 nanofarad. So, the 100 nanofarad ones, let me try to find them in circuit so we can follow these. So we've got one there, and we have one here and one here. So I'm going to bring this in just a little bit so you guys can see. So we've got one here and one here, and one here and one here. So now I can obviously, now I need to find the earth point, which is going to be at the top. So this is going to be your earth. I assume that would be, because this is all earth on there. And then we're going to test to see if these both register at 100. Nope. We're registering at 39 out of 100. That's more than 10%. And then I'm going to do this one and this one. That's actually a good meter. Very good. Yeah, it's massively affected. So out of 20, it's fluctuating between 17 and 21. It's supposed to be 100. So we've got 2 failed caps. So yeah, they're right. The remaining ones that's actually on the board, which is this one and this one here. And let me have a quick dabble and see what they were supposed to read. I think they're again, they're not very big caps. 1000. It's got a 1 UF, so that's short for 1000 cap. Now, what's the other one registering at? Let me double check. Is that 22? UF. So right, so we need to check a 1, is that another 22 UF and a 1000. Right, well that's a good test. So straight away, 22 and a 1000. Right, so let's start off with the 22. So as we usual. So 22. So that's going to be these two here. Oh. Well, it's actually registering at double its capacitance. For a 22, it's 4,000. Obviously, that's not great. That's past more than its 20%. So that cap would probably, I'd say, best to change it. Try and get it. I mean, you know, it's double its capacitance on that front out of a 22. Now let's test the other one, which is the 1000, which is the one up here. And I think, is it the back? Yes. So this is supposed to register at 1000. And we got 22. So again, it's more, I would say the ESR is probably a little bit higher on both of them. So again, caps have gone bad even on the display on that front. I mean, these two are way over capacitance for UF. They're not, I'll just have a look to make sure it is UF and not a nanofarad or picofarad. At the end of the day, it's microfarad, so it's UF. So yeah, I would say both of them caps would need changing. So out of the cap range, what about the other two that's registered on here? Obviously this is going to be the same. So if that's the case, that's more than two. I would say some of these, what's this one? Let me just double check to read the capacitance. Is that a 1000? 1000. So let's see if this one registers the 1000 region. It's actually quite a good multimeter. Very good. So yeah, highly recommend. Yeah, this one's gone exactly the same route. So really, all the caps on this board really want changing on that front, even though they're more than its capacitance. I can't. The only downside is I can't check the ESR rating. I know the ESR rating's going to be high on that. So, but looking at that, that shouldn't be reading that high if it's a 1000 cap. You don't mind a little bit just over, like 10%, but not double its capacitance. Obviously, the electrolytic, the oils, the mineral oils that they're using these is obviously drying out, and it's pushing the capacitance up even higher. So, looking at this, looks like all in caps need changing. Now, the only downside that I end up having is you want to get good caps, not the cheap Chinese, the Chinesium caps that they end up selling. And this is the problem that you end up getting. You want a good quality, sort of like caps to put on, because this is all to do with audio, and this is the trouble. Yeah, do it. Yeah. Why did you just pop one out and ease it on the? Yeah, actually, it's a very good question. I could actually do that. We'll go for the easiest one, right? So let me boot up the Moo Cow, and I can get her booted up. And yeah, I think you're right. Let's just test that to see if that was. Now you guys see that was
to the channel.
Classed at 2200 on that front. So 2200. Let's just see if that is, because again, reading in circuit don't always, but I'm going to say reading that. I mean, that's more than what the other meter did. Looking at this. Sloth, who's that? Sloth Tech, thanks for subscribing. It's just come up. Thank you, bud. Much appreciated. So yes, we're gonna boot up the Moog Cow, and since I've done that fan on this one, it's been a lot more quieter. So which is a lot better. So I don't know what happened to the fan. It was just making a screeching horrible noise. So yeah, I think that's a good test by Mr. Pico himself. We'll take out the 1000 cat because this was registering at 2200, and we'll see how we get on with this, and then we'll retest it onto the new machine. But so far, if that is the case, and that is giving its true reading, if this is giving its true reading by taking that cap out, this is a game changer. This will help me a lot to actually diagnose caps a lot quicker. By then, don't have to desolder one side of the leg, pull it out and try it at the end of it, because that's time consuming. And obviously when you're doing repairs, like all repairs, it's okay if you're doing it with yourself, but if you've got a business, obviously like Andy has, Mr. PCDD, you don't really want to spend too much time, because again it's costing you if you've got work on top of that. So you've got customers coming in and out, you want to diagnose quickly, get to the problem, order the parts, and then sort of go down that route. But it's hard because, like you said, it's not all caps related. Obviously I've got lucky enough, Andy helped me to diagnose the problem with me bass speaker, because he had one with a customer's one that was identical, and that really helped me out, because obviously I had the exact same issue, but my one stayed green, but I've got no audio, but they do fail. So let's get this cap out. I don't think that Moog gun's sucking. Oh, it is sucking it out. No, it's blocked up. I thought it was. Let me get the thing out. Oh god, that's it. Knocked it all over now. Let me grab why this is off. They give you one of these sticks. So basically, the idea is you put it in. Why it's hot? Because you can't do it when it's hot. Clean it, it. Lovely. She's done. Right, I'm going to put that down here for a minute, and we'll try that again. The Moog gun is not shifting it, even though it was blocked up. It's unblocked now. God, I've got back cramp in my finger. Right, let's see, I've knocked all that block fine, which didn't help. Because again, when you're working, you need room, and if you're limited to space, which don't obviously help, pop that. Oh yeah, this thing's got auto off as well. If you don't use this, I was reading up about this, it turns itself off. It bleeps, and again, which is another great function. Moo! Mr. Hotcows, thank you for popping in, sir. Obviously, yes, I've not been on for a while, so you guys, obviously, being my birthday, I've had a great birthday. It's one of the best birthdays yet. I wish I had that on my 50th. That would have been more comical, but it was still a good laugh. So when obviously we were lads night, so yes, I had a few drinks, just a few, didn't go too mad, and yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant song. So, but you guys have been awesome, absolutely, it made my day, especially Mr. MK. sending me that picture was awesome. Right, she's out. Right, yeah, that's just turned itself off. So that's got a good function on that, where, you know, and guys, that was only about £22. One of the bloody best multimeters I ever bought. Obviously, the only thing is, by turning it off, I need it back on. Right, so this cap was registering at 22. Now I'm going to read this exact same thing again to see if this cap is true or not. So first thing you should do with all multimeters, 0 them. We've got an open line. So stripe, which is your negative side. At front. So yes, let me, what's the chances of this cap still registering at 22? No. See, false pot, that's a false. So the cap's actually good. So the cap is registering. Cap's registering at 1,123. So the cap's good. It's not bad. See, now straight away, I would have said that cap was bad. So obviously, that was obviously reading in circuit. So unbelievable. So what I mean with capacitors can throw you off. Did you like the pictures? Yes. I've got to admit, that did make me laugh. Yes, thank you, Mr. Otcows. That I think out of all the pictures, Mr. MK's one was the magic one that done it for me. Obviously, it was so good that I managed to put it onto my phone and add it as a screensaver. So I've got Mr. MK as obviously as a background picture, because he's obviously sent me a picture saying happy birthday, Chill, and he pulled the Furbies on. That was, yeah, I love that. I think that one was legendary. I don't know how he's pulled that off, but it looks so good. But yeah, that one tickled me. That one really did. Yeah, I uploaded the picture of the CD. Yes, and I'll see all them pictures. I didn't know. You want to keep hold of that, sir, because you are sitting on a small gold mine there. Obviously, the CD32s, the Amiga CD32s, it's actually a good machine. It's like you said, and you've got some great games in amongst that lot. So this cap is good. So I can put this cap back on. Now, this cap was obviously, so if they're registering at 22, then that means it's reading in circuit. So obviously it's a good cap on that front. But I still need a proper ESR meter, regardless of how much what this is. You know, this is still, it still throws you off. So even though this is a good meter, it's still, but it can sort of use it as a guidance. So if it reads, so the way I look at it then, if it's reading double, it ain't a bad cap. It's actually a good cap. It could, that all that means is because you're reading components obviously affecting its value straight on to next to it. So let me see if I can put this cap back on. Yeah. Let me see if I can just turn it down a little bit, guys, because I think that application, there you go. Let's see if I can just turn it down. That looks a little bit better. Let me just grab a little bit of solder while this is switched on. This is the only thing with this type of circuit board. You can do some trace damage to it. And that looks like trace damage. And I bet I'm bloody right that I've done it. Yeah, I know that'll only be a negative leg. But this is why I ain't... No, it should be alright. No, that's bit. But it's not... Let's see if I can just put a little bit over to that point of that leg on there. Might have to put a little bit of wick on, just put a little bit of flux on it, just a little bit. Yeah, I was going to say, hold up, I can't see that message. My fucking characters are terrible. Yeah, read it with the Smart Maker readings as well. Yes, because again, it's on auto range. I was going to say before pulling it back. Yeah, so obviously, because you've got a testing point on this one, you've got a range select, you can lock it. It's actually a good machine, very good machine, but the cap is good. That's the one. So that will give me an indication now that this, if it reads double, that means the cap is still good because you're reading it with other components. That looks better. Lovely. What amazing, what a little bit of flux does. Obviously, I'm going to have to lower that setting. Let's see if I can just turn that setting down to... $300. I'm going to do it roughly around about 370. That'll do. We'll put it onto 370 and then I'll give that a little scrub. Oh, where's my toothbrush? So it's a good cap. It's not a bad cap, it's actually a good cap. Yeah, I think that setting might be just a little bit too high. And we have got obviously been watching. I think I was up about 4 o'clock this morning because I always like browsing because I wake up quite early because with the dog, but I like spending an hour in bed just browsing on YouTube. And I did see Mr. 8-Bit Chris streaming. I just caught the end of his stream, but I did pop in to say hello. And then Ace started about 6 in the morning because remember it's a 12-hour difference in Australia. Right, we need a bit of solder on that other one because that just looks, there's not enough solder there. Lovely, there it is now. So that cap, all I can say, it's a good cap. So we've got, obviously, this is why I really wanted to read. You want really one with the, that's got like an ESR reading as well. But, I mean, don't get me wrong, multimeters are great. They can help you to a certain degree. So I've put a new cap, so that cap is good. So really, without testing these other caps, that's why I pulled the legs out. So them two underneath, they're very low value at the end of the day. So these two at the top, this one, and this one is reading very good. So it's just them two underneath there because I did pull the legs out and did test them. So which is not great. So these three have definitely failed that front, and I can test that again because I've got this one out. So let me just quickly test the value while this one is out because that one's already desoldered from the board anyway. Now this one was supposed to be registering at 100 UF. let's see if it reads at 100 UF actually in the cap. So negative leg and positive leg. Yeah, that's failed. It's registering at 3. Well, it's actually registering at 21. 21 out of the 100. So yeah, that cap's gone bad, big time. It's completely failed. So yeah, that does make sense. So I mean, that's obviously out of circuit, but if I put that back in circuit, we can try reading it again in circuit and see what that reads, because I'd be curious to see if the meter would show that up actually in the circuit or not. So, which I'm going to do right now. So obviously I've put that in, so negative leg's going to be at the top. Let's see if this reads. Yeah, it's still reading 24. So it's very accurate. It is accurate. If the cap is completely failed, it was registering at 22. So it's reading a little bit more in circuit. So yeah, yeah, it has failed. So yeah, no, it's doing its job. That's it. So yeah, I'm afraid to say that cat and the other two right underneath. These two underneath here, they have gone. So they've not all gone bad, but obviously not all of them. Not all of them are good at the same time. But I just wanted to do a test to see how accurate this meter was. Obviously, it's and I've not ordered the caps for these yet, because again, the multimeter that I was using was obviously throwing me off, because when I was trying to test it with this one, which is my original tester, it wouldn't read all the caps. It just wouldn't read them, regardless that I put it in to the COM and the right end, because you've got these ones would do like UA and all the others. You could try them, but it made no difference what port I put it in. It only read about a dozen caps, and then after that it wouldn't read no more. So I don't get it. And yet this one was end up being 3 times the amount as what this one was. So you'd think this would be a better multimeter. This ends up being the best one so far. So yeah, I'm really impressed with that. So far, but now that I know that if it's reading 2000 in circuit, then obviously the cap is not bad. It's just that you're reading components, or it could be parallel, because this does read parallel. But it might read the next component next to it. That's probably why you're getting double figures. And clearly that just proved it. Do you only use like the red and the black coloured multimeters? Yeah, I mean, it's really down to personal preference. I mean, the choices is really, I mean, I'm not worried about the colour of what this is. Whatever's the cheapest. It was only that it was recommended on that. No, just that you notice that you've got all the same colour. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, they've done them in blue, black. Obviously, the blue one, which is this colour, at the end of the day. Mr. Pico's got the same one, all in red. And I just wanted to change it up. It's no different. It's just they only done them in 3 colours. So they basically done them this colour. So they do it because this was bought by the same company. This one and this one, they all got 3 different colours. So you get it in black, which is this colour, all black, blue or red. And obviously I thought, well, these two come from the same company. So they shipped them both. This was all put into one bag. So when this one turned up at the same time, because it's but this one was made by a different company. Obviously, even though it's got the same name, but the company that actually manufactured this one was from a different department, so they shipped this separate. And again, this works lovely. There's nothing wrong with this at the end of the day. But I think Mr. Pico's right. You need a selection. If you're dealing with amplifiers and audio equipment, and which I have got a few, you do need a selection. You can't just rely on one. And I've proven that with mine, it doesn't work. It does to a degree, but not fully. And believe it or not, this ends up being this one. And if I have to recommend, really, out of the two, I would say both of these, because I tried to read some caps on the board that were over 2,000. This wouldn't read it, but this one did. And then vice versa. There was caps on the board that this one wouldn't read, but this one did. So I can relay of what he's trying to say is you need a selection. So obviously they all do near enough the same thing, but some pick up better than others. So and then this is the point I'm trying to make. So by having more than one multimeter, you can then eliminate if you're thinking that is that reading true or not, because obviously now you've gone for a nice digital one. Obviously you've gone for more digital, even an analog at the end of the day, which I did have an analog one, but obviously the multimeter itself had a problem, and I did pass it over to Mr. Pico. But obviously now we come to the conclusion, Mr. Pico done an investigation. If you haven't watched it, please do, because I've put a link of Mr. Pico's channel on my YouTube. So if you click on my YouTube channel, you'll see Mr. Pico's link on there. Click on that and you'll see that multimeter, and it's a lovely analog multimeter, but it's just unfortunate to say that the actual mechanism itself is failed. So it's just one of them things. They don't fetch much, but it just made great content at the end of the day, and we thought we could try to rectify it and save it. Thought it might just be a contact problem. No, it ended up being a lot more than that. Yeah, I'm still trying to source parts for that. Yeah, that's the trouble. When you're trying to source parts for an original component, you run into the exact same problem as what I run into in 90%. Retro stuff, you have to buy the entire, all of the one item, even though it's broken, which is frustrating because you don't expect to, you think bloody hell this ends up being expensive, but then retro stuff is. It's not like what Mr. Swindon does. He gets a range of icons in, so it could be a PlayStation, an iron, well, you don't deal with TVs, car audio, no car audio stuff, which I can relate to because they're much more harder to diagnose and just again get parts for, because again if you looked on the board, it's full of components and they all look the same, and it's like Mr. PCDD when he's doing his job. He's got one of the hardest jobs to diagnose, because I know I used to work with PCs, I used to build them, and obviously they're not for the faint-hearted. If them boards have got tiny resistance on them, and you've only got to have one or two of them go bad and it completely shuts the board down. So Carfor, thank you for popping in, sir. So yeah, I think out of all of us doing the different streams, me doing me retro, obviously me and Pico really deal with retro stuff at the end of the day, because he's got some, and Mr. Pico will be doing some live streaming. He's just getting his set up, so we might be able to, what me and Pico was coming up with, we might be doing some challenges live, dual streaming, so it'll make great content for you guys as well. So we can give ourselves some challenges to do, because we might be able to order some parts in, and then it's a bit like obviously for the donations, and again it could lead to raising some money for charities. And obviously my next raise is going to be for the Dogs Trust Fund, so I'd like to raise some money for the Dogs Trust. So that we are talking about, we're trying to arrange something at the moment, and hopefully obviously Mr. Pico does work long hours, obviously the work, the job he does, but there is going to be some time off that we might be able to do that, and that might be for a further video. So yeah, that's going to make great content, so I'm hoping that it is. But I'm thinking that everyone that we know will do something different. Andy does a bit of everything. I deal with retro stuff, PCDD, and JFix does laptops, mainly all laptops and computer stuff. And it's Mr. PCDD mainly deals with PCs. He does deal with a few laptops on that front. So I would say you've got a good range of variety of, again, when it comes down to repairing. And out of all, Mr. NK himself, that also deals with controllers, because he's very good with controllers and he's obviously got a lot of them. So again, there is a big community out there, and the good thing is you guys are the biggest part of it, because you've helped massively. Otcals has really helped me out on that Spectrum board to try and repair, because I couldn't see, obviously, that TR7, that transistor, I couldn't see on the board because it had broken trace. So I needed a clear picture, and Mr. JFix did try it. It was a bit blurred, but obviously Otcal's come up trumps, because he gave me out of all of the board revisions, the 6A is the only one that wasn't located, and we couldn't get a picture of it, except he come up trumps and showed me a clear picture, and then I could see exactly where that transistor went, and I've done the trace repair and it worked. Well, we found out that it had the chip had failed on that front. So yeah, that makes sense. Challenges up for one for JFix lol. Yeah, I mean, like you said, some for one up. I mean, obviously you did see, so you actually helped me out on that front, because that helped to repair that. Obviously I've sold that now, and that's now gone on that front, but that did help. That obviously did help. Yeah, I also do, yes, Mr. Pico does do a lot of recycling as well. So, yeah, so there's some streams that processes that what we've got, the items that we can also recycle and get paid for. So there's obviously opportunities on that front. I can see Mr. Pico's channel growing quite well, because obviously the business he lies in, and that makes sense. So that'd be great, because I'd love to see that in process live. That'd be awesome to see, like, you know, all boards like this, you know, all certain components stripped off and then being recycled at the end of the day. And you'll see the process. I'd love to see things like that, and it fascinates me. So, because again, it's all to do, it's not repairing, but it's more on recycling side. But again, it's a community some people do want to watch, and it's like most things, but it's a bit of everything. So yeah, tech repairs. Yeah, I'm really looking forward for those. So yes, so obviously Mr. Pico will be doing some live streams at some point. Obviously he's getting some things. He did show me some pictures set up on that front, and yeah, so far it looks really good. He's still got some things to set up, but I would say he's 70 to 80% there. He's got a few bits and pieces that he's got sort of cameras out and everything, but he's got a nice little setup of doing the live repairs. So yeah, that would be great. So that would be really good on that front. So I'd like to see that on that front. And then again, it's another one joining the community of doing the live streaming. So again, it's all about engagement. So obviously he's going to have a lot more knowledge on what I've got. Like, you know, there's a few people on here that are very brainy on that front. I'm still learning, like Mr. NK's still learning on that front. So I could say safely that, you know, not all these caps have gone bad, but out of the 40-50 caps that have gone bad on there, there's about 8 or 9 that have failed. And that's the entire board set up, because obviously I need this put back, but obviously I need to order the right caps. I don't want to put them cheap Chinese ones back in, because they're just going to fail again and they won't last long. So obviously I need to go online and see what audio caps that I can put back on there, because obviously there's so many different choices of capacitors. You can't just sling any capacitor on at the end of the day. And obviously eBay are known for giving rubbish out. So obviously I'm going to have to make sure that I'll see if I can try and put a better cap in. Which really none of them are, because I'm actually amazed this still works. with regardless to how many failed caps it's got. I mean, I've put red dots on these, which you can clearly see, and there's quite a few darted over. I've got some up here, I've got some down, I've got obviously, I've got some over this side that have failed. These two have failed, this one's failed, that's failed, and that front. These three have failed completely, these three have failed, but all the rest of them so far seem to be good. So there's about 9 failed on that board out of the entire lot. So with that 9 and the other 3, so that's 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 12 caps that's gone bad, but this board still works. Which, regardless, that I've still got a picture, but the caps obviously, but they're obviously these failed caps is affecting the audio quality. Because as soon as I give it bass, it's flatlining, it's sounding distorted, and it ain't giving it bass properly. Yeah, well, I'm not surprised if the caps are gone on this front. So yeah, first thing that now I've got a decent meter. I've got the other one coming, which is round my mum's. I'm picking up tomorrow, so I will do some testing on that. I'm glad Mr. Pico's in. Mr. Pico, can I ask you, sir, with the oscilloscope? Now we've got some few headbangers in here on this front. I'm going to ask, can you test capacitors in circuit and out of circuit with an oscilloscope? Will they still show up, or does this thing have to have a certain amount of power for it to be pulled the information through? Let me grab some water. So yes, so that is so far, and the others, believe it or not, all at the front, they're all good. There's a few caps at the front that ain't failed. It's mainly all on that board. But while I've got that out, I'm going to test. Now I've got this new multimeter. I am going to let me bring that round here for a minute. Let me just put this up on here. Right, that's good, because now I can hear it. I'm glad that I've managed to get the audio sorted out, because it was coming out the bloody left side of the channel. Right, we put that over there. So, this is the linear record player. I want to do some testing now on the caps on here. Yes, you can test caps by using it together in function with a function. That's the next thing I've got. I was going to ask you about that. That's what I need to get, which I have not got. It's called a function generator. If I did read up a little bit about function generators. Function generators it's a wave format that injects voltage to the object, and then it can off peak onto an oscilloscope, because then you can test different wave formats. So it pulls power, it puts power and pulls power to the oscilloscope. So it's a bit like an input and output situation. And yes, I was going to ask about that front. So let's see how we get on using this, because I've not touched this. Obviously, this is another part of the project I've not managed to get, because obviously I was having issues with the multimeter. So first things first, always zoom out, always what's the name? I think this is a great multimeter. I honestly do. I think that's one of the best multimeters I've seen so far, and it being really cheap. I can see why you related to that one. So obviously I've not tested none of these caps, but I'm thinking that we've got about 22 to 24 caps on here, give or take, that I test. But I did, again, my multimeter wouldn't test them. It just wouldn't test them. Now that's a different ball game, because now obviously I've got a much better test multimeter. I now can test these. Now the issue that we've managed to get, you know, and the issue that we had on this board is working, but these pots that we've got on here, which you guys can see, we've got two pots. One's for the 45, one's for the 33. The 45 is working. The 33 won't reduce anymore. Now that's also indication to me that why that won't turn down is because the caps, you might have more than one cap that's failed on this board. Again, capacitors have a big part to play in this. If any of these caps are failed or they're low in resistance, this pot won't do nothing, and it's got to the point where that pot won't turn down anymore at the end of the day. Now that could also be that the pot's gone bad. I personally don't think that pot's gone bad. I think that pot's fine, but which is this one. This is the 33, that's the 35, because this is adjusted to its maximum and I can see it here. So this is the 33, and the 33 won't turn down anymore because obviously the capacitors are trying to pull the resistance down to slow the value down to 0, and that's what it should do, but it still sounds like the Smurfs. So that's definitely indication to me that the caps, some of these caps have gone bad. Now there's more than one cap on their board. I mean, obviously you've got ceramic capacitors, which we have. These don't normally go bad. They are pretty good, but we can test them because again, it's a capacitor. So the first thing I'm going to do is test this bunch of 4 of them because they're right next to these pots, and we have got ceramic capacitors again right next to the pot. So my first thing is, let's test these and the ceramic caps to see what they're pulling and the resistance on the board. Now I'm sort of beginning to know roughly if it's reading double, that ain't a bad cap, because obviously you're reading components in parallel with each other. So that could be another reason. And this is the first time I've done this, because this I just took out and left it because obviously I was waiting for the multimeter. Yes, the crystal TRs are for changing and discharging curves. Yes, yeah. So right, that makes sense. Yeah, right. Yes, let me read that message on there. So yes, you can test the capacitance with an oscilloscope, but you know, with a multimeter. But the RC, was that the RC times content, the T, or the sample, or the sample ones, yeah, and then right, and then calculating, right. So that does make sense. So obviously this is the reasons why I've put it in to it's obviously coming up as a nanofarad because it's not connected. So, but like you said, the C and the TRs are changing and discharging the curves. So yeah, so obviously this is the reasons why you're getting a higher reading, because it's discharging and then charging back up again on that front. It's like you said, it's an understanding when it comes to reading components. Because it's like 90%. You don't get to when you're trying to do electronics. It's really difficult because you're trying to learn and also try to read at the same time. Now, am I right in saying that these ceramic capacitors, these could be put in any way round because they've not got a plus and a minus side on that front, because of the way that there's a tiny resistance in there on that front. I can't see it because it's not circulated, not like a normal ceramic caps are not like a normal capacitor where you've got your negative and your positive, because I can't see that on here and it doesn't show. So first thing I'm going to do, let me see, where's that torch? Where's my lovely torch? My lovely torch is always gives me. So this is a reading of 403Z. So this should be a 403 capacitance reading. Now there's nothing else around that, so this should give me a true reading as what that multimeter should read. And we're going to find out and see what that reads. Nothing. We get nothing from the cat, unless I'm hitting at the leg. No. There we go. Wasn't touching properly. Now this one don't read. So I mean about certain readings. Now I'll swap it over. Can't believe Andy's never even heard of that game Discworld. The famous Eric Idle, obviously the game for the PlayStation 1 when he asked earlier on. It was actually a classic game. They did do Distilled 1 and 2. It's an adventure game. He said, I've never heard of it. So it came out about 95, 96. Now this won't read. Mr. Swindon. Is that? Yes, Mr. Swindon. I'm glad you're in, sir. Yeah, I was going to do... Yeah, I can't believe you ain't heard that game. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, actually, it's a really good game. You want to try that. If you want to go for a PS1 game. Eric Idle. He's one of the best iconics, obviously, the Monty Python series. There's a few famous voices. It's in there. Stephen Fry's in it, using his voice. But mainly it's Eric Idle on that front. And it's an adventure game. It's a point and click. It's absolutely legendary. It's one of the best games they ever sold for the PlayStation 1. I'm surprised you... Yeah. Sean Conway, thank you for popping in, my friend. Obviously, so again, this multimeter won't read. So, let's try the other multimeter. Just out of curiosity. Now, this one is a little bit different. So I'm going to put it in capacitance mode, which we are. So I'm going to leave that right there. I know, Terry Pratchett, that's it, Terry Pratchett. It's actually a really good game. If you haven't played that, Mr. Swindon, play it. You'll like that one. I've already completed that. It's actually quite a good... I played Discworld 1 and 2, a classic PlayStation 1 game. Now I want to read to see that, Terry Pratchett. It was actually, like you said, it's one of those cool adventure games. I just liked it because it had, I will download it. I'll download it now. Yeah, you'll like it. It's a right funny game. It's got some right funny, witty humour. It's one of the best PlayStation 1 games I ever played. It's when you said, I've never even heard of it. I went, no, that's been out. That was about 1995, 96. I think it's about 96 that game got launched. No, this one won't read. So, obviously it won't read ceramic capacitors, which I'm really surprised. Okay. So, thought it would have, but, oh, here we go. Did it read? Yes. There you go, it's reading. So, now they're funny, innit? Now the other one won't read that. This one does. This is why what Mr. Pico was saying. You need more than one multimeter. Now this one's registering 250. And what is this? Supposed to be registered at 403. But remember, you're reading in circuit on that front. But this is reading. Except that I've just realised I bloody put the leads the wrong way round. It doesn't matter. No, 403 is 40 nanofarad. Right, okay. So that's a 40 nanofarad. Right, first things first, let's put the leads the right way round. I keep forgetting. You've got red dot, and obviously white dot. So we make sure you make sure you, obviously red goes to red, white goes to black. Trust me to cock it up. So if it's actually reading it, yeah, I'm looking at also Atlas Peak, but there is different versions. Which one should I get? Atlas Peak. Yeah, that's not the. I think that was number 2 on that front. Because they done. I'm pretty sure they did do. There was only 2 versions on that front. Obviously, you've got Eastern European versions and the British, but the British version, obviously on that, because like you said, they done a European one and an English one. Try and get the English one, and it's nothing. I'll tell you what, it's a sought after game, and it really holds its money. I've got it. I've got the original on the PS1. I won't sell it. It's worth about 40 quid, just for the game itself. But yeah, if that sort of helps you. So 403 is 40 nanofarad. Yeah, I suppose in that. So right. So again, reading these ceramic capacitors. Cool. These are enough dusty. So what have we got on this one? Another 40. That one's a 22. Even though it's got 223 at the end of the day. So this is why I can't probe them, because the legs are being pushed so tight to the actual board. It's why it can't be probed. And that's why I'm having issues of probing. God, that says issues. That didn't mean to come out like that. So I'll rephrase that. No wonder I'm having issues of probing. Yeah, can't. That's what she said. I thought everyone had knew Terry Ratchet and the Jokins. Yeah, ceramic capacitors are really thought. I to be honest, Carfor, I've not. It was only due to Mr. Swindon that had a few broken ceramics. Obviously into the one he was repairing for the forklift. I've not known them to go bad. They do. Obviously, if they're put under immense heat and stress, I suppose then they would do. Electronic boards, things like this for audio, I've not known it to. To be honest, they're rarer than hen's teeth for them to go bad, unless it's been physically dropped, and then on that front. But I would say out of all of these, I can't test these because again I've got to take all this board off and then probe them underneath. I mean, if this one's registering at 22, but that's registering, I'm pretty sure that was registering at 22. Let me just double check. So there must be a, oh yeah, there you go. It was probed in. So there must be a plus and a negative side on these legs. Yeah, twos. If they're two, it's coming up 249. Was actually charging up 256. What, out of 40? That's reading in circuit. Let's read the caps. The main thing is it's going to be a cap related issue anyway. No, positive and negative on those caps, on them capacitors. I can't see it. Yeah, it's probably, that does make sense, because I can't, it won't read, it'll only read one side of the leg anyway. But the chances are that's going to read in circuit, like all of it's going to read in circuit. So let me test these caps and see which ones these caps are. Now these are supposed to register, are these all 1 UF? Oh God. Jesus. There's a lot of them, there's 4, and they've put isolation around the legs. Why? You know why? Because you've got a bunch of resistors strapped right bloody next to them. Yeah, they're all 1 UF. Now these have got Japan written on these, so yeah, 50 volt, 1 UF. There's 4. They're all isolated. Every single one's isolated, so they're not touching. So first thing I need to do then is probe these and see what they're registering at. Hold up, let's read Mr. Pico's message. I've never really tested ceramics, and one that I did tend to is like the Strike Mire stuff. Then I repaired them after starting to take them the repairs also. So now there will be a bit of both. Yeah, I mean, it's true at Carfoss. They very rarely break down. It's only very rarely that Mr. Swindon on these cases, because being on a forklifts can get hot and they're working all day, and there's a lot of voltage. Obviously, you had all in voltage regulators and the MOSFETs all at the back there, and all in capacitors. They all give off heat. So where they was all stuck and glued in, I can't wonder at it. But it was a bit of a bitch to take off, because you've got to take off so many components just to get to one. That's the only downside to them. I mean, it's not everything's repairable to a certain degree. It's just gaining access to it. But yeah, I totally agree. But these are supposed to be registering at 50 volts at 1 UF. So I'm going to use this meter. Now it's funny that the other one, this one up here, won't pick that one up. It won't pick the ceramic cap up. But this one did. So this is what you was trying to say earlier on by having more than one multimeter. So try not to get the glare too much on it, because it's overwhelming, this light. Can't regulate it. So let me probe the leg, see if I need a negative leg. Has this got, yeah, these should have negative sides. Oh, negative side there, right, okay. So I'm going to probe these two here. Yeah, 1.6. That's reading in circuit, that's fine. So that cap's good. Right. Because obviously it's pulling other resistance in, so it's obviously you've got resistors here, so it's reading resistance as well. Well, that cap's good because it's reading 1600. So anything above the 1000, because you've got to take in the other resistors that it's pulling in as well. So I will do the same one again. I need to find the negative side of the leg, which is this one here. If these 4 are good, and then what I do, I'll dab them. I'll put a dab on them and then test these. Because my multimeter just wouldn't pick this up. It just wouldn't have it. I tried reading it, and this is the reasons why when Mr. Pico said get yourself a couple of multimeters, it does make sense at the end of the day. Right, let's just quickly test this one. Oh, crying out loud, it's these bloody legs. One 6. I see that one's come up 1.6, so that's good. I think these ones are going to be okay. Wait, I don't know, mate, this. Well, you know what it is? It's the coating on the legs. They've put like clear coating on there, and I can't move them. Well, 2's reading at 1600. So it says on here, yeah, when I was going to start a stream, I was going to do some stripping down items for recycling, but in generic public's point of view, when using tools, most definitely why people might have to oppose to the commercial use. Oh yeah, again, there's certain laws and legislations that you can't broadcast it, because again it's the process. Otherwise you could actually be fined on that front. yeah, you got to be careful. How long will it take you to the general tools and what you make money and to get from advice? Will it take for general tools and to get money from a general? Yeah, I don't. What you're asking is, let me just dab these. So this one's good. This one's good. I'm going to dab these so I know I don't have to do these bloody caps. Because again, some of these are going to fail on that front. So what you're basically asking is that, are you asking that from me, Mr. Pico? Like, how long will it take? No, from a recycle point of view, I mean. Yeah, that's actually a good. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, but you're right. Can you broadcast? What you're saying is, most of the. Can you do live broadcasting to actually show the process of recycling? Because again, because being commercial, there's certain rules and laws that you can't show the process to, because again it's but then it's like you said that there is shows that actually do show you how to sort of what goes in the process of it, because obviously you're in the business of recycling. Yeah, I mean that does sort of make sense. Let me have a quick look to see what this one is. Bloody phone, don't stop bloody pinging. I know that it pings up. I think a lot of it's junk mail. So yeah, it would be good. I mean, like you said, I'd like to see that. No, I can show commercial process and some parts of it, but we at certain points on how things won't on work that we can't give out. Oh right, again, I suppose in its legislation of law that you can't go to too much in depth of what can be broadcasted. Everything. I suppose when it's coming to this one, it's all about learning about electronics. But when it comes to recycling, on that front, I suppose it's a bit like Fords when how they make a car. They can't go to too in depth. They could just show you the car being put together. Your aspect part is you could just show of what we do, intention of stripping down. But you can't go to too in depth. What you're saying is you can't go too in depth of what some of the components do, and because I suppose that's also showing off of the processes. I don't know the law. I mean, you know what I mean. It's the law is the law, and the law is a funny thing when it comes to things like this. So you have to be very, very careful. In it, but you still got a setup. You still got a nice setup on that front. But it's a nice setup you've got. You're nearly there. Like you said, just setting up a few cameras and things like that. That front, but oh, Mr. Pico, did I say? Does this one come with a backlight by any chance? I didn't see a backlight on this one, unless obviously. Oh, it's got a torch. Oh, there you go. Just hold the button in. Right. All right. Found it. I just see a little torch light, and you got to hold it in. Yeah, there. So yeah. All right. I thought. Oh, I'm sure that this one got a backlit on it. Yeah. This one's got a backlit. The bloody light's draining in the thing out on it. It's actually So yeah, obviously, so I've dabbed two of these they're coming up 1,600. So let me just probe the other ones and see if these are any coming up at 1,600. 1,600. I think these caps are alright, man, dear. These caps ain't fouled. That one's good. So we just probe these two, the last two. Oh, for fucking crying out loud. Or as Joey says, Law the glove. I like that. Obviously he's been doing some, Joey's been doing some Allied ROG X's. That he's obviously got a couple of them. Some of them quite simple fixes. Look at the top of the multimeter. APO, right. And the torchlight. Oh yeah, torchlight's up. So it's a 2-in-1 then, really. Oh, that's a nice little touch. And then the light goes out. So yeah, I like that. That's actually a nice little touch. So it's a 2-in-1. See what I mean? Now it's funny, isn't it? Now, obviously, that multimeter, this one wouldn't read the ceramic caps, but this one did, and yet that one wouldn't read it. So yeah, that's a bit of a. This is what I'm saying about needing more than one multimeter, but obviously it does make sense. I think out of even the Bluin, which I've not used yet, but these two end up being the best two I think I've bought so far. Obviously, because again, they've all got different ways of reading in things. Some pick up better than others, but they're both good meters without a shadow of a doubt. It's miles in front of mine, regardless to how cheap these are. At the end of it, good. Well, these two, all these four here are good, right? So I'm going to dab these. These are good. These are good caps, right? So I've put black marks on these four here. So these four have not fouled. They have not fouled at all. They're absolutely fine. So, well, they're good, so I ain't got to worry about them. There's going to be some fouling caps on here, I just bloody know it. I've really got a bad feeling that some of them have got, even if it's just one or two. The meter will also read temperature as well, but you need to get, you need to get a temperature sensor lead with them. Oh, right, oh, that's nice to know then. So basically you can get, I'll have to have a look for them on that front. Temperature sensor, so that'd be great, because then again when you're probing you can then see what, I mean, that would actually come in handy if the temperature is actually spiking, if it's getting hotter. Obviously I've ordered the ones that I've ordered so far. One of them's actually, yeah, I'll show you which one. I can't get over that with Mr. MK. I think that is absolutely legendary. Let me clear all these messages, because I clear them, they keep coming back. So the one, obviously, I do like that, that cracks me up. So let me go back into eBay, and I'll go into purchase this. As soon as I go into them, they obviously come back. Yeah, you should have got them with the leads. Oh, I'll have a look. I didn't look at that. They're in that box. So I've paid £89 for a thermal imaging cam. This is this one here that I ordered. It's got to come from Italy to keep the cost down at the end of the day. The same one, and it's quite good. It's for Android. USB Type-C connector. at the end of it. So you plug this into your phone, download your software. Well, because my phone ends up being the size of a tablet, that's not going to be a problem. And what else did I order? Yeah, that was it. An ESR reader, right? It was an Atlas, Peaks Atlas. This I paid 103. I got a little bit of a discount on this one, so I got £10 off. But by the time they added the buyer's protection and the everything else, it bumped it back up to over £103 because of the buyer's protection fee. Now this one, obviously, it's being 2 years old. It's actually a good ESR reader. This one being the 70. Now they've Atlas, obviously this will give you a ESR reading as well as the peak capacitance of a capacitor, but there will be a limit on the capacitor that it will read. But these are great ESR meters, but they are expensive. But again, for the type of work I'm dealing with audio, these are tools you really should have at the end of the day. That, like I said, I'm trying to eliminate, to make my job easier when it comes to diagnosing, and it's like trying to do brain surgery with a knife and fork. You can't do it. It's not viable. You need the right tools. Obviously, I've been struggling with doing this type of work, and it's misdiagnosing everything, and it's making me work harder. So by having an easier task, by having the right tools, it just helps it thinking things can go much more smoothly on that front. Obviously, my multimeter wouldn't read these caps because I tried. It wouldn't read them. Well, these ones do. I'm not having an issue. All right, they are reading a bit high, but remember, you're reading in resistance because you've got components on top. So obviously, for what these are reading, 1600, and these are 1000 caps, because you've got resistors right next door to them. So it's obviously picking up the resistance from the cap as well. So that and the components next to it, it's going to be. So they're reading fine, and I've proven that by just taking that cap out. It read at 1200, and it's supposed to register at like 1000 by taking the cap out. Yeah, on one side of that meter there is select button. Yes, select button. So you can switch it manually by switching it, and then you can actually put it into audio mode. Oh, I see. Right, I see. Now, obviously, so now you can select the one's got the bell, so if that touches, that should now go. Lovely. So I see what you mean. Yeah. EF is obviously your electronic reading for your your live voltage cables and things like that. And then you've got your live, which is on the other side if you want to do live testing, like live voltages. So it's a bit like AC DC sort of thing. Makes sense. Yeah, you're right. Temperature. So I'll have to check the bag. Got hertz, and then you got it back to audio. So I'll put it back to cap. I like the idea of a cap. This actually, again, good choice of meter. So I can understand when you said, can you recommend some good choices? That ends up being a very good choice on that front. So yeah, I'm really impressed with that so far. That and the other meter, I think these are the two best meters I've used by a long shot. On that. But again, I didn't know that with the temperature sensor. Again, now the other one hasn't got that, but this one has. So let me test some of these other caps, because I've not tested none of these. So I think that's going to be a 1000. That's going to be that's going to be a 1000 cap. I just bloody know it is. Double check. No, 33. The other one was a 1000. This is a 33 UF, 64 volt. Oh, 16 volt. So that's obviously, I suppose it's being right next to that transistor. I'm not surprised. So 33. So this is going to be interesting to actually see if it'll pull up to 33. You can leave it in auto when you're getting around like the ball testing for different things. Oh, that's a good idea. So you ain't got to put it in capacitance. It'll read it as automatic. And let's actually just try that. Let's take that out and we'll leave it in auto, right? Yeah, I know what you mean. And then that will then pick up if it's a diode or a resistor or capacitor. It should automatically range it and sort it for you, because it's got, obviously it's got auto at the top. Don't know what the APO is, I've not checked up at the end of it. So yeah, actually I'll give that a go. So this is supposed to be registering at 33. Whereas picking up in kiloohms. So I'll put it back into cap and see what it reads in a cap. Well, at 33 it's reading 175 UF, but remember you've got resistors right next door to it. So regardless, that there's a transistor and two resistors. So you've got a transistor and two resistors next to the cap. So it's trying to, obviously it's trying to read the transistor and the two resistors next to it. It's obviously it's pulling. So if that's a 33, take the resistance off from the transistor and the resistance from that would probably be about right. Yeah, then caps might be in series, yeah, or in parallel. Yeah, again, if they're in, it does mention that if they're in parallel or in series, they will give you off because you're pulling off the components. So you might read more or less depending in circuit. I think that sounds about right, because some of these resistors are going to be between 26 and like 50 in a resistance mode, and then you obviously got a transistor, and that could be anywhere on the resistance side. So pulling that down for 170 something, that's reading the components next to it. But obviously take that out, that'd be fine. That'll read its true value. If, like you said, it'll be depending on how many components next to the one that you're trying to read. If there's about a bunch of them, like there is on this cap, there's this one cap's only registering at 33, but I can see there's two transistors virtually in parallel with each other, and there's two resistors right next to that cap. So they're all bunched all next to each other, so it's reading, it's obviously pulling the two resistance from there and the two resistors from the other one. So obviously it's going to alter the value, but it's not gone massively one way or the other. It's just a really weird, it's like you said, you with getting a true reading, you really do need to pull them out. Yeah, them caps might be in series from parallel, so depending on, so you might have to pitch with the valuable outputs, and then yeah, that's right, and then part of that is in circuit. I mean, you know yourself, like when you're trying to diagnose a problem, the best way to test caps is really, if you want the true values, pull one side of the leg. Yeah, because that's the only way you're going to get the true value of it at the end of it. I mean, then it's out of circuit, because it doesn't matter with the other leg, it's isolated on that front. But I would say that's a good cap. That cap's not failed. It's only when it sparks, if it's the only way that I would say that was a bit suspect, if that was registering at 33, right, 33 UF, if that cap was registering at 4,000, right, I would say that's a bit suspect. But depending what was pulling on it, that could have also affected its value. So I would have pulled one side of the leg and tested it, but because that was only 170 something, that cap's absolutely fine. So when it starts going crazy, when it starts spiking, when it gets massively about 4 to 5,000, like it did on some of the others, I found that a bit suspect. I mean, obviously, I've just found that out by doing on this board. Obviously, some of the caps were registering at 2 to 3. No, it was on the other one, wasn't it? 2,000, and the cap was registering at. The cap was only supposed to be registered at 1,000, and it was over 2,200 because it was affecting the values. Obviously, the next component. Until I pulled it out, it was fine. So, if it starts spiking massively, then I'd say then it might be suspect on that. But I could say that's a good cap. There's nothing wrong with that cap. If these caps all come back good, the chances are then something else is affecting that pot on that front. That could, and there's a lot of transistors on here, hell of a lot of transistors. Now I know by obviously Mr. Swindon's obviously done a lot of these on the boards. Transistors always tend to go bad at the end of it because of the amount of heat they give off. And if they fail, they don't, obviously because it looks okay, don't mean it is, that they are okay. Because again, it doesn't show no signs when the transistor fails. I know because when I was dealing with the Spectrum boards, it had the exact same problem. So, yeah, I can see where this is going. It definitely, so far we've got 5 caps that are good out of a possible the rest of the 18 on there. But transistors are well known for going in it. Yes, like please guys. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Swindon. Much appreciate that. Yeah, you don't really want to have a late night, my friend, and you don't really want to try to get to me watching too many streamers. Obviously, if you're not going to get your sleep properly, Mr. Swindon, it's going to affect your line of work because obviously everyone needs their sleep. This is why when I try and aim, Mr. Pico's obviously he gets up early and he works long hours, like some people do. So yeah, I can relate to that because I used to do it when I used to work in Tesco's that front. Now most of the time, when I'm doing charity work, I can just work at my own leisure. But most of the time I'm doing bits for my mum. So yeah, you do really want to try and get some sleep, my friend. Obviously, it's a bit. I know it's only just gone 7, but try and aim for really. If you got, I know it's saying stuff, but try and aim your head down. Put your head down about 10 o'clock. Between 9 and 10 o'clock. I ain't gonna have a long stream because I've not streamed for quite a while. But I wanted to test out these new multimeters on this front, which and plus I want to repair this, but obviously this 33 won't pull down any more on the resistance. I've still put it down to a bad cap. You've only got to have 1 or 2 caps gone bad on there. But then there is a lot of transistors, and I will need to test the transistors to make sure these transistors ain't gone bad at the end of it. Because if these have failed, it won't be an audio chip, because some of these are audio chips and like power amplifiers. The way it'll go directly back to the board. But we have got some. What's that? Is that ain't a TR? What is a CL on one of those? Is that I had a look, because again they've all got different markings on some of these. Yeah, this one's got a C. I'll have to write the numbers down. I'll have to have a look. The way they put the bloody components in, they must have been drunk. They're not the greatest. I think that's going to be my next purchase. I'm going to invest in the same camera is PCDD. Obviously, the cheapest camera on there second hand was 210, 225 for the camera. Obviously, you want to improve on your thing on there. Bloody old Discord team's blowing up like bananas, I'm telling you. Everyone's going mad on Discord at the minute. Actually, I didn't test the... Mind you, them legs don't look too great. Are them legs supposed to be black on a diode? I've just pulled all that off. Diodes read in one way. Let me put it in auto mode for a minute. Let me read that diode. I'm a bit suspect. That was all black, that diode. Megaohms. What's a diode supposed to be reading at? That diode was literally... It's tripping out. Diodes only read one way. The silver bit is the negative side, isn't it? I'm sure it is. Yeah, it is. So that diode's reading roughly around about 871, 0870. I'm not sure what diodes should read at. Circuit boards like the one that you've got there are around about 2.2 kilo. I can definitely vouch for that. I can put that on the. I could actually put that on there. The Chinese Rainbow motherboards without RAM and without CPUs, what we get is the same for. Yeah, the high grade green boards. Oh yes, because again the colour of the boards. Yeah, you're right. Because you've got all different colours on the range of the boards. The high grade green boards is what we get. Then we get 4.4 per kilo. £4.40 per board. You wouldn't think that, would you? I mean, oh mind you, yeah, that's a kg. No, per kg. So yeah, I see what you mean. Not per board. Obviously, that's per kilo. So you've got you have to obviously you've got all the tools to weigh them all up. Because again, the board grade on these, because like you said, yeah, in pounds. Oh right. So yeah, it's like you said. So there's all different grades of the quality of the boards on there. Did it literally, when it comes to, you see, this is what fascinates me. When it comes down to stripping these boards down to a certain degree, I mean, obviously you deal with PCs, so straight away you take off CPUs, RAMs, obviously you've got power supplies and all other bits and pieces. Obviously power supplies don't really fetch nothing, but the copper does in the wire, because you just cut the cables off and then scrap them. On that front, because again there's not many left in components on there. Like, I mean, Mr. Swindon was obviously repairing the Xbox one, which he'd done a great job on. And when it comes to things like that, am I right in saying that when you're doing sort of like recycling, really power supplies are they're hardly not really worth anything, because you've got the metal shielding around them. Do you have to take all the metal shielding off on that? And then like scrap the rest of the board. So all the board that you cut the wires off, the wires go in one side, the metal that's shielding goes over there, and then the rest is all inside, like the board and all the caps and everything else. It's all fucking pre-glued and everything, because most of them power supplies always are. They come from the manufacturer like it. I mean, obviously you can't use much on them. So do they go into the e-waste separately like everything else? I mean, you must bloody get through. You must get through thousands going through that. Power supplies is what we put into that goes into the shredder as complete. It's except for the wire. Makes sense. It does make even including the metal the shields and there's shrouds that go over them as well. So you just cut the wire off and then basically just take the rest of the metal shield with all the board inside it. Yeah, so makes sense. So, bloody hell, that machine must be powerful. It fucking shreds that. You won't want to put your hand on it. Talking about that, I bet you've got some health and safety forms to bloody put out. The poor power supplies. Well, at least they yeah. Obviously they don't fetch nothing, but obviously I had a big box of power supplies under there, brand new. They was all cellophane. They was all brand new Dell ones. They don't fetch nothing. Believe it or not, it does make sense to what Mr. Pico's saying. I tried selling one of them. It wouldn't even sell for £5. It makes no sense. You probably would get more back in scrap. It really does make sense to what you're saying. Yeah, it could shred. It could shred a complete car. Flipping Noah. Oh, that's impressive. Yeah. God, I bet that's noisy, no. I mean, you think if it can shred a car, right, all right. Yeah, you health and safety is a big key in the role part of where you work. Obviously, you can't act silly when it comes to things like recycling centres, because there's a lot of certain laws that, you know, one mistake and it's going to cost your life. And obviously, so really you've got quite a big responsibility that you have to make sure that they don't do anything daft working in there, because it can seriously hurt them or kill them in that aspect. And I suppose in that does make sense. Recycling centres are dangerous to work in. It's a dangerous environment. It can be safe if you isolate it, but not if you know, obviously you've only got to have one or two start mucking around in there, and it's not the type of, you know, environment that you should be doing that anyway. So, you know, because like you said, the responsibility is going to be all on your shoulders. Obviously, being a director, like you said, I assume you're the main director of the company, because you take charge of, you know, how things should be run and how it should be operated at. But impressive. It's definitely impressive. If you can shred a car, yeah, you wouldn't want to put your hands near it. So yeah, you treat machinery like that with the utmost respect. You know, so I would definitely say, yeah, that does make perfect sense. It must be a very noisy environment, though. It really must be a noisy environment. Let me see if I can read this cat. Now, this cat is registered at 100 UF. We're registering 570, but remember, I'm reading a resistor and a tiny ceramic capacitor right next to it. So 570, the resistor's pulling the rest down. Yeah, it's very hard to use ear defenders and around. I can imagine. Yeah, yeah, you'll have no mercy. Yeah, machinery like that is that you can't muck about on. It's a serious no-no at the end of the day, because like you said, the machines like that won't stop. It won't know if it's a human or not. At the end of the day, it's there to do a job, and it's, you know, regardless to what goes in, it's to do one thing: crush. So yeah, you don't want to put someone that's inexperienced, but even the experience, you still treat them machines with the utmost respect, because like you said, one mistake is going to cost. Yeah, but I'm surprised. Yeah, we have to use ear defenders around. Them ear defenders, like you said, even with them on, that machine will be deafening. Definitely would be deaf. I can imagine all that crunching and grinding and everything. You bung power supplies in. If it can crush a car, what do you think it does to them? It's nothing. Yeah, but we'll put it in a power. We'll put it in a power supply in the shredder, and it will come out in 5mm pieces. Flipping Noah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That's impressive. That is definitely impressive. 60 car falls off. Yeah, that's it. Get the 60 volts out. We've got nothing against that machine, I guess. Well, machinery like that we use 2 and 3 phase power anyway. At the end of the day, they have to. It has to be industrial. Anything like industrial and that, because I know I worked alongside industrial on that scale, and yeah, they use really high voltages, so it does sort of make it 3 phase. There you go, 3 phase. So it's 3 phases that it goes through. So it might have a power supply of like 7 or 8, between 7 and 1200 watts of power. You could put a Furby in it. Well, obviously the poor Furby wouldn't even stand a chance. I mean, not even 3 phase power would go into that. So yeah, it would. You know, power supplies for 3 phases can range anywhere up to 3 to 4,000 watts of power. What that machine needs. That'll have a massive, powerful motor in there to try and turn that. 60 volts ain't going to be enough. So if the car falls out of that front, it won't run on your bench power supply if it uses 3 phases. So no, probably not. But put your Furbies in, Jesus, Furby wouldn't stand a chance. It'll just get crushed instantly. But I could definitely imagine the size of that motor would be colossal. And again, some of their motors can range anywhere up to like £10,000 just on the motor. You think of the copper strands that's running in that's going to give off some heat. That's got to take some serious grinding if it can come out 5 millimeters in pieces. 5 mil. It's barely like that. I mean, you're literally looking about that type of a piece for it coming out. That's ridiculous. You won't want to you won't want to put anything else in there. It'll just completely annihilate it. But yeah, 60 volts won't be enough to power that, I'm afraid to say. So, well, that cap's good. So I can dab that cap. So that's 500 and something. Obviously, that's not a bad cap. So far, so good. But that's impressive. That really is impressive. Now this is registering at 4.7 farads. So UF. Let's have a look to see if this is 4.7. It's not going to be 4.7. 7.48. Because it's got transistors next to it. So it's what the transistors doing is taking the information and bumping it up. Well, that's good. That's a good cap. It's not a bad cap. It's only when it gets silly readings, when it starts spiking massively. It's normally, if these caps were registering anywhere between 10,000 on a 4.7, then I'd say that's a bit suspect. But roughly around about 20 to 30% its value rate, because obviously you're reading other bits. So I need to then now read, is that another 4.7? We got a heat detection one on these. No, this one's 2.2. So right next to a 4.4. So that does make sense. So that's 4, 5, 6. That could be, that cap then could be in parallel with this cap. That would be about right. If that was registering at 7.2, that's reading this cap as well. So the chances are this cap being good as well. It's like you said, they can read in parallel with each other. And this is the trouble with caps. Now if this comes back, it's still registering at 7, then that's reading both of these caps. This cap's good. .8. So it's reading a transistor it's reading, I don't know what this component is, I ain't got a clue, but it's obviously it's pulling 3 of these items together, so 7.8. So it's reading that 4.7 as well as the ohms resistance on this, and this, what is that? Is that what's a Q? I ain't got a clue. I'll have to read. Again, it's studying. You do a lot of studying when you're doing electronics. It's, you know, up front. But I would say that's a good cap. That's not a bad cap. So far, so good for all these. Now that's a 1 UF cap. Now this cap can't be read, see? He's struggling to read. Oh, transistor. Thank you, Carfor. This can't be read. So we're struggling to read this for some reason. And it won't read it both sides. Let me try to bend that leg a bit better. Could be because it's not making proper connection. There you go. No, he won't read that cat. So a Q is a transistor. That's what these are then. So these different types of transistors. So we got these transistors, and this is a transistor, right? Okay, because I see the Q on there. I wasn't 100% sure of what the transistor is, or a transistor or MOSFET, right? It makes sense. MOSFETs, transistors, the two most awkward components you can ever have on a board. They are both prone for MOSFETs blowing. They'll just blow. So you'll get no power, or it'll just trip out with MOSFETs. Transistors will just burn out, and you'll get they will just get red hot with transistors, especially these 3-legged type small ones. Thanks to Mr. Ockhouse, I didn't have a thermal cam, and I managed to use the IPA trick, and it worked. As soon as I touched it, it was red hot. Obviously, because it was in, I changed it over and it was fine. And then it didn't get hot. It still got warm. Transistors are known to getting red hot and burning out on that front, but this has not got that problem. I'm just hoping that pot has not gone bad. If that pot's gone bad, I'm going to have to try and get a 3-legged pot. Yeah, about £14,589 I have in to change a motor. God almighty! I said about 10k. I didn't expect that, but my machines are all eyed on what they call semi-permanent hire. Makes sense because they're contracted. Yeah, they're in contract, so any of them breaks, they'll come out and fix. Do you know what? It makes sense. That type of line of work that you're paying for, it's got a higher resistance. You think, right? If you had to buy that machine, that's right. If you have to buy that machine, it would cost a lot more than that, right? And if that machine breaks, then you've got to get someone out, find the problem, and if that's a motor issue, right, on that front, you think how much that motor would cost to run that machine. That's the brains of it. Yeah, but if you had to buy one of their machines from yourself outright, it cost around, yeah, there you go, 50k. You're looking at this, that sounds about right. So it's a no-brainer to hire them out. At the end of it, it really does make sense. All right, you know you've got to take that in consideration when you're boss name, but you think their machines are switched on from the time you go to work to the time you switch them off. So they're constantly on near enough every single day. That motor is really taking a pounding at the end of it. and I said about 10k for one of them, which sounds about right for one of them motors, but I was a little bit off depending on what type it is, but that's 15 to change that motor. So it does sort of make sense to have it on there, but that's a lot of money. You know, alright, 50k. If you bought that for 50k, now you ain't got that expense to spend out. But then if that goes wrong, which it will do at some point, you've now got to get a higher, someone that's qualified to deal with three-phase power. Yeah, that's 500 horses. Jesus. Yeah, that's got some serious horsepower. That's a serious, nice bit of kit, but powerful. I suppose it does make sense. Yeah, I mean, you're putting all types of things in there. You know, like you said, if you're crushing, how many machines can you crush in one go on that without that not overloading? Because obviously there must be a limit for what you can throw in. You can't just put in a pallet load at the end of the day. The poor machine you'll burn the motor out. Obviously, with contract stuff, you have to be careful because you're still responsible even with contract. If you deliberately burn the motor out, they can actually fine you for doing that if they have to come out and change it. So you can't go mad with them, but at that sort of aspect, you haven't got the overhead if you bought that machine outright, because like you said, I wouldn't want that type of thing coming out. You think, Christ, that's 50k. I don't know, but we chuck lots in and it eats it faster than it can. Bloody hell. That's impressive. That's seriously impressive. Yeah. Wow. I suppose in that machine, it's got 500 horses on it. It's got, all I say is, it's got a serious motor to chew that up. For him aim to come out 5 millimeters. 5 mils, you're looking about that for 5 mil. Probably a bit smaller than that. That's mad. It's impressive. It definitely is impressive. On that front. Unbelievable. So yeah, I would say, yeah, the utmost respect for that. Now this one can't read, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to try the other one. Now that won't read that capacitor for some reason. So I'll turn that one off. I'm going to plug this one back in and see if it'll read. It won't read that. Now it's funny, this is reasons why I like to have different multimeters and then have a look to see if one's reading and one ain't. Open the line. So I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to probe this and see if this one will read it. Now that one wouldn't read it for some reason. Can't get the bloody probe in. That's it. This won't read. Now that's funny. I've never had that. So this one will not read in circuit. It won't read this one. No, it's getting the same thing again. The dot sort of, it blips. It tries to read the now this could be down to a faulty cap. This is what I was saying about before. Trying different multimeters, is that a multimeter issue or is that a capacitor issue? I'm hoping that's not capacitor related at the end of the day. Yeah, that's some serious horsepower on that. I might have to put this one as suspect because for some reason I can't read that capacitor, and that's supposed to be a 1 UF, and it can't read it. If that can't read, this cap could have failed. I'm going to come back to this one. I'm literally, I'll have to check that cap. That one's won't read for some reason. Discord. Right, let me check this one. What's this one? This is a 10 UF. Jesus. If I can get a probe under it. That's a microfarad. What's a microfarad? 50,000 on a microfarad. That cap's reading. We did do. Now it's not reading. Oh, hello, UF. Marrow. Microfarad. Yeah, 47. 47 microfarad. That could be reading because it's reading obviously the transistors, and again, what is that next to it? I can't even bloody see it. That's a resistor, right? So that's a big resistor next to the small resistors, and there's a ceramic capacitor, a disc ceramic capacitor right next to it. So but for some reason I can't get no meter reading from this cap whatsoever. I can't get no meter reading from it, which is really weird, which I should have had a meter reading. It won't read it. Don't tell me this cap's gone. This could be the culprit. We've got one cap here that will not read. Well, that's not good. This one's reading an MF cap, but then it is reading, there's about 4 transistors around here. So it's reading 4 transistors in. So I'd say that cap's good. There's another cap here. I didn't see this one. Let me read this one. Bloody caps, there's loads of caps. One UF. They're all about a 1000 UF. Right, well that should be simple enough. Let's see if I can probe these, because I should be able to get to the legs right here. There you go. It's reading 10. But it is reading right next to a ceramic capacitor. Oh, here we go. No, it's spiked. It's reading between 2.7 and 3.1. It's fluctuating. No, it's stopped now. Yep, and now it is fluctuating again. Because like you said, they're charging and discharging. So 2.7 to 3.1. So that cap is good. But that one, it will not read from. I'm not getting, I can't, the meter won't even read it. Which I'm a bit concerned of, because what's next to these? Diodes? What we got? We got diodes next to it? No, resistors. But you'll still get a meter reading from these. These are diodes. It won't be because of the diodes on there it's gone bad, is it? Because if a diode's gone bad, that might cause that not to pull. That looks like corrosion. Oh, is that corrosion? Wow. Hey, hang on a minute, guys. That looks like corrosion. This cap could have gone. That's green. It's gone round one of the legs. It's not leaking underneath, but it's not grey. That's gone grey. Yeah, we've got a little bit on one of them over there as well. Tiny, tiny little bit of corrosion. This one's got like It looks like it's hugged one of the legs. Let me see if I can, I'll tell you what, I'll show you. I'll put it on there and I can show you what it's doing. Test the diode, I'll show you. Let me see if I can put the camera up and then I can pull up the EQs, see if I can try and put that up. Let me have a quick look to see if it's working. Yeah, the EQs is working. Yeah, don't be daft. It don't work like that, does it? Let me follow the camera and see if that is gone from that's gone from that side, so it's gone here. Right, so let me plug that back in and have a look. There you go. So I'm going to switch this on, and then, oh, hold up, guys, it's just fucking froze. Yeah, no surprise there. Deactivate, activate the camera. Cool. Right, I'm going to push this one aside, and then what I'm going to do is, I can show you guys on here, you might be able to see it a little bit better. This, let me see if I can focus it. On this cap, you might be able to see it a little bit better, but look, you can actually see a little bit of a corrosion. This is the one that is not reading. I'm not getting no meter reading on here, but you can clearly see, if I can bump it up. Oh. Yeah, we saw a diagram that was in the kitchen. Yeah, test the diode. Right in that corner, it looks like it's hugged part of the leg, but it's not leaked underneath. But this one is a 1UF. You can see it's got 1UF. I can't get a reading from this cap. The cap's leaked. This could be suspect because I should be able to get a reading from this. So I might have to pull this board off, just quickly test it, pull one side of the leg out, and then test this cap. But that looks like corrosion. Yeah, it looks like it's leaked. The cap underneath is not leaked, believe it or not. I can see it underneath. The camera can't do it any justice. It looks like that it's just corrosion just round the leg. But the cap's not leaked underneath. And it's not leaked on top. So, obviously, that corrosion that's around this one of their legs, that is definitely corrosion. But it looks like it's hugged the leg on that front. But you've got diodes right next to it, which you can clearly see behind this wire. If I push this back, you might be able to see it a bit better. There you go. So we've got two diodes parallel with each other. So we've got two little tiny diodes, because again they're like isolated. I mean, these are glass. These look like these are glass ones. They're not like the black diodes on that front. But that's definitely 100%. I can't get a reading from this cap. It won't read from this cap at all. It's supposed to be a 1UF. I'm a bit suspect with that. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. I think the first thing I'll do, I'll try the other caps, some of these. Now that cap looks fine, but obviously you've only got to have one cap. One or two caps go bad on this, and this is the reasons why it might be affecting that pot, which I'm a bit concerned of. So, but again, the meter won't pick it up. it just won't read in it. So, which is a little bit of suspect on that. So let me pull that back over. So I'll come back to that one in a minute. I'm going to test the rest of them, but the others I've marked. That one's a little bit low, but that could be because it's reading transistors. The transistors next to it, but it is reading. So, but that one, no, I'm not getting, no, I can't get a reading from it at all. So the rest of them seem to be fine, even though the value's high. It's not a problem. Just open the rest of some of these. Now, what's this one? What's this registering at? Double check. I wish they wouldn't bloody put the meter readings on some of these. I can't read them. Is that a 10? 25 volt. 10 UF, right. So the grey one is a 10 UF. So let me probe the 10s and see if we can get a 10 over here. Right, let me see if I can move these out of the way. That's actually a good meter. That's, do you know, it was a good shout out, Mr. Pico. Definitely impressed with that meter. At least I can read. Oh, alright, it's not. It can't read 1, but that ain't bad. I can't mode it that. .46 out of a 10. So that's reading components in. Obviously, it's reading the diode next to it. There's a diode there. 46. That's a good cap. That cap's alright. We can give that a clean bit of health. We can say yes, it's fine. It's reading the diode in it, which is making the value go up. Like you said, it can go up or it can go down. But that other cap, no, I can't even get a reading. Now this one's quite high value. No, 100. That's a 100 UF cap. So let me put that on there because that side's the negative. Let's see if we can read 100. Bloody turn itself off. Don't tell me in battery. Mind you, I didn't put great batteries in him. 100. Spot on with the value. So what I mean? Yeah, 99. So that's a good cap. So we've got a good cap there. Because you know why? There's nothing next to it. So that proves it. If there's nothing around the cap, the meter will give you near enough an accurate reading. But if it reads diodes and resistors, or they're running in parallel, the value won't be correct. But if it's isolated near enough by itself, it will read the correct value on it. So that sort of does make sense. You get to, once you've done it a few times, then you get to know that what you're looking for, and you think, no, that's fine. It's not a problem. The only one that's a bit suspect with the green is that one that can't read from it. And these caps, these orange ones, obviously these ones that I've got here, these orange type, they're Nichon caps. They've got Nichon written. Now, that's the ones I couldn't think of the name of. Nichon. A bit more expensive because some of these caps can range anywhere between £3 all the way up to £7 each, depending on the value of the cap at the end of it. But they are a much better cap at the end of it. They're a smoothing cap, like all caps always are. Much better caps. The one that I laughed on the board that obviously Mr. Worms was doing for me was Wang, a Wang capacitor. And that's what I was laughing when I was trying to tell Mr. Swindon in there. I said, you sure it ain't one of them Wang capacitors? And he said, I don't know what you're on about. And I went, no, you'll get to see now what I'm on about. The Wang capacitors are the cheap, nasty, cheap Chinesium caps. So, yeah, not the greatest. Yeah, the Nichens, they're good caps. They're good. They are. They're expensive. They're a much better cap. I'm trying to bloody get the value of it. You know, all I'm doing is getting hooked up on everything. And you're trying to pull wire. I don't want to pull too many wires out. Now that's a 0.1 UF. And what's this one? Again, which I can't get off. 0.1. So both of them orange caps are 0.1s, which is going to be roughly around about 0.100. It should do, give or take. Yeah, them Wang caps crack me up. Wang capacitors. Yeah, Mr. Swindon didn't get what I was on about when I said to him, "You sure it ain't one of them Wang capacitors?" And I was laughing, and he didn't get it. Obviously, they got them on the Atari boards. They actually put them on there, and they got Wang written on them. So yeah. So if you know in future, Mr. Swindon, if you're watching this and just sort of lurking in the background, if you know what the word Wang is, they come off the Atari boards. That's what they put them on there. Cheap, nasty Chinesium caps. Right, you know, I'm getting hooked up left, right and centre here. Right, so this should register at 0.100. So that would be 0.100 if there's nothing in parallel with it, or resistors, give or take. Uh-oh. We could have another suspect here. We can't read. We can't read them. This one's not reading. Oh dear. This is not good. Right, well that's not good. Oh no. This is what I said, didn't I? What did I say from the start of this? You've only got to have 1 or 2 caps go bad on this board, and that pot will not work properly. That's not reading. I can't get a reading from that circuit. Oh no. And these are only 0.100. These ain't great caps. They're supposed to be good caps. Oh, I can't get a reading from that. That's not good. Right, let me see if I can probe the other cap. No. No, it's doing the same thing. Cap's not reading. Uh-oh. Suspect. I'm going to swap them over. I'm just going to see if it reads. No. I've swapped the leads round to see if it could just be the leads. It's probing. No. It's doing the same thing. No. It's bleeping. It's just literally dinging. And I'll show you what it's doing, guys. Watch that meter. I'm going to probe them. Right. I've swapped the leads over. Watch what it's doing. It's pinging. It won't. It'll try and read it. J-Fix, how you doing, my friend? No, it's pinging. It's not good. We've got 3 caps that are not reading at all. Oh no! Straight away, I've got suspects on here. 3 caps are gone. Now that's Nichens caps. They're actually quite good caps. I'm really surprised. Stop hitting that like button. Well, it ain't that bad. Yeah, that's the myth. That's the legends. That's the legend, James. So yes, suspect so far, which 3 caps are not reading on that front. Oh dear, I'm not. I might have to take these caps out. I might have to put. So the 2 orange caps are not reading the same as that one, and these are not 100s, and that one was supposed to be a 1000. These are not even. These can't be read. I might have to just quickly see if I can try and take this board out. Right. Can I lift this board out without taking too much off? This is what I really wanted to do. I might be able to do that. Can I? Let me have a quick look. I had a really bad inkling that this board was going to be suspect when I've done the testing side. So obviously that's how to get to the platter, but I wanted to take the board off. I think that one there, if I remember correctly, let me grab a screwdriver. Them Michelin caps, they're supposed to be better, really good cap capacitors. I've not known them to go bad. I've never had them, you know, the Michelin ones. I rate them caps to go, oh, for crying out loud. Look, guys, look what's underneath. Now, why have they done that? They've put 3 capacitors straight underneath. Oh, all right, take it back. There's 4. there's another 2 caps up here as well. And they've put, obviously, resistors underneath here and a diode. Oh, actually make it 3 diodes. So you've got 3 diodes floating around and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 caps underneath at the end of it. Now, why? Why can't you just put them all on top? What, did they run out of room? And some of these coming off the chip. So if, again, these could be suspect. This is probably why they're not reading. These ain't the ones that I tried to test, is it? Now this one's gone. This one won't read. And is there anything up here? No. So there's nothing on that front there that this one is not in parallel with anything. So straight away, a new multimeter. I've got a couple of new multimeters, my friend. So obviously these are a couple of digital ones. I wanted to get, I bought a couple of new digital ones because I can't read in circuit. It was just struggling for some reason. I'm tired of watching 3 times in a row now until I get that though. Yeah, laptops, yeah, videos, yeah, JDD does everything. I'll try something coming up. It's true. Well, comparing, well, you think about it, right? When we all first started off, except for Mr. Swindon. Mr. Swindon's been doing it before anyone else, right? When Andy was I would say Andy was the first one to start doing the streaming before James, me, Mr. MK was obviously doing about the same time as Andy, give or take, probably just shortly after. But really, James, and then I jumped on after James, so I started doing the streaming after. So I suppose really, for the short period of what we've been doing when it comes to us streamers, for what we've learned so far, I think we've come a long way comparing. Obviously, James jumped straight in at the deep end trying to do trace repair. No, that was one of the hardest things you could ever do, my friend. I was cringing. I was going, bloody hell, you've jumped straight in at the deep end. First try, hat off to you. That's not the easiest thing to try and master, obviously. And when you've got a live stream and you've got 20, 30 people watching, you think, bloody hell, it feels like the world's on your shoulders. But because it's a virtual environment, people are sitting behind the camera. They're all screaming out, no, don't do it, don't do it. Obviously, you don't. You're in your own environment. So you just go with the flow. You just think, well, I'll give it a go. But that's what it's all about. You've got to have the engagement. You've got to literally just say, well, I've got to give it a go. Because I don't know what your limitations are. I mean, if you could say, what if? And that is my point exactly. When I had to go at the Atari boards, I was in the exact same boat. But I just stopped I didn't carry on. I'm thinking I was getting way out of my depth, and when you get these microchips soldered on and they're double-sided boards, you've got to know we're thinking, do you know what? Don't carry on. You're going to make a pig's ear out of this. You're going to make it difficult for someone else that's going to now try to repair it on that front. And that's the point, that if you're not comfortable, then don't try and attempt it, because you will damage it and make it much difficult for someone else to try and repair at the end of the day. But by all means, we have to learn. I mean, it's all a learning curve anyway, so we won't know that until you attempt it. But now you know that it didn't go right the way you want it to, because you've watched other streamers do it and they make it look simple. You've tried it and you're thinking, bloody hell, it's not that difficult. It's quite difficult to do. And that's the point, that you're thinking you have much more respect when you do it next time, because you're thinking, right, I made a pig's ear of it last time. I'm going to be really careful and try not to make that same mistake twice. So yeah, that's the point of when you're getting. But I think we've come a long way since when we first started off. But obviously, the most biggest thing is tools. Tools are the trade of when you're doing electronics. I think that's the biggest part of, you've got to upgrade. Obviously, you've got to get better cameras. You've got to get better audio. You've got to get better testers. I've now invested into oscilloscope at the end, a better bench power supply at the end of the day. You don't start off with these things because you're just trying to start off, but you're learning at the same time. But obviously now you're getting more confident of doing your repairs. Now you need the tools, because now you've got a little bit more confident of testing, and I've got that in exactly the same ways. Yeah, he buys a lot of these gadgets. Yeah, that's just turned itself. But it does make sense. But we have, since we've all been starting, I think we've all done well in our own sort of way, and we've come along. We have definitely, for the short period of time that we have been streaming, obviously some less than others on that front. I mean, you've only got to look at Rusty Russ. Obviously, he's doing Xbox 360s, doing JTagging. At the end of the day, he's run into problems, and it's not easy. He tried to take a Nintendo Switch, not a Switch, a Nintendo Wii apart, and my God, I could have told him live on the stream if I was on there. I'd have said, "Don't attempt them. You're going to have a nightmare of your life." And the tiny screws involved, and you're going down that rabbit hole. You're going down that rabbit hole and starting and saying he ran into a lot of problems, and I said, but you've got to learn. You now know you've done it and it didn't go right, but you've learned to take it apart, try to isolate and find the problem. That's why a lot of that stuff, it's like you said, Mr. Pico, sometimes it's not worth fixing. It's just worth, you get more in scrap, and it makes perfect sense, sir. It really does. But it is a learning curve that obviously you want to understand and try to find out what was causing it. But you could go, once you're going down that rabbit hole, it could be a number of plethora of things like this. Straight away, suspect 3 caps and now not reading. Well, I'm not surprised when I looked up, when I flipped it over, there's another 4 caps underneath this board. So yeah, it does sort of make sense. Yeah, I've done that. Literally, just not on the stream. I've taken things like the Wii U's apart to fix faulty, and then fan circuits, and then I was fighting for the iFixit gods that was putting it back together. This is what I'm saying, Mr. Hotcows. We've regardless of how good you are to a certain degree, you know what you're good at. Everyone knows what they're good at to a limit. But once you start going beyond that limit, you're now going into the unknown. And when you're taking something apart and you're not sure, you now need... I mean, look at Andy. He's done so many switchboards, right? I've lost count how many switchboards he's done. But again, you can't fix them all. And again, you still think what you know, you still can learn something even off that board. Even you might just say, well, it might not be the NAND, it might not be it might not be the N92 chip at the end of the day. Straight away, as soon as you're thinking, oh, they're the common things that go on these boards, it could be something else. But you don't know everything, and you still got to learn about them. Yeah, Andy does more than taking things apart in different projects. that is true. It is definitely true. Especially the word projectors. I won't say no more. You know you can't say that word. Okay, because it's on my stream. Sorry, Ed. But yeah, obviously it's a sore subject for some people. I can understand that at the end of it. And you have to put your hand down. You can't. Thanks for your So I can say that it's on my stream. So I know I can't say it on your stream. So yeah. Sorry, the football's on, so I can't listen. Well, you must have, because you answered it. So yeah, there you go. He's watching the. Oh yeah, because the footy's on. Yeah. Yeah, I was actually, my phone was over before the things on it. So he's watching the, yeah, he's on low, so he's on my phone low. So yeah, but you know what I mean. You're still there, yeah, you're still lurky there. See what I mean? You can bring them out. They're like wood lice. As soon as you mention something, they all start come running out of a bit of wood, and you think, bloody, where's this lot come from? They're all lurking out. They all start coming out everywhere. I know that. It was about when I upset a wasp nest. I didn't have one wasp out. I had them all out trying to sting me. So yeah, I can definitely vouch for that. You mention one word and that's it. Right, so let's get back to that. Let Mr. Swindon get back to his footy while it's lurking in the background. Let me... Yeah, that does get it. I can say it's my stream. That looks like that's been pinching. No, that ain't broke. Alright, I thought that was broke for me. Let me taste. Oh, that bloody machine's turned itself off. Right, I'm going to put the backlight on. Let me test these caps. So, what's these caps on here? That does make me laugh. Oh, they're 1UFs. Are they all 1UFs? Oh, cool. That one's dusty. These are Nichon. These again Nichon caps. Bloody good capacitors. They're bloody expensive. The Nichon caps. I know because I've got a couple of them in there. I've got a couple of 5,000 watt ones. Big caps. They're for power supply, like speakers. 500, not 5,000, sorry. But they was dear. They was about bloody £4 or £5 each. Just for the caps. Well, there you go. I didn't even know he was there. Yeah, half time. Who's winning? I'm surprised Worms hasn't showed up. No, Mr. Worms, yeah, probably, yeah, because Mr. Worms is lurking in the background. I can't praise Mr. Oh, that's 1-1. Oh, bloody hell, it's a tie. Mr. Worms, obviously I did try to pay him for his time, but bless him, he really sent me a lovely email on that front. Mr. 8-Bit's also... Mr. 8-Bit, thank you for popping in. Mr. 8-Bit, I did pop in, so I didn't know. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning. I've just woken up, I was still in bed, so I thought I'll jump on, see who's live, because normally Ace goes on about 6 in the morning, because obviously it's 12-hour time difference in Australia. And I did jump in, and I didn't know you was just ending your stream. So I thought, oh, well, I did manage to pop in and say hello. So, you know, thanks for that. So I did miss your stream. Sorry, sir. Because obviously time difference. I'm going to just see what these caps are reading. These caps are supposed to be reading at 1,000. I'm not going to bank on that reading at 1,000. Oh, no, tell a lie. 1,062. That's a good cap, so the cap's good. Alright, I'll read the other cap in. 1086. That's a good cap. The Nichins are pretty good caps. I've never had any problems with Nichin. I'm really surprised with them orange ones that they've failed. If that is true, I'm just hoping they're not. Let me see if I can try and to just read these caps quickly. I didn't see these under here. 1074, good. And these are 1000. That's a 1000. They're all bloody 1000 caps, and they're all Nichon. Every single one's a Nichon cap. Wow. Yep, 1045. Yeah, these caps ain't failed. They're actually reading good. That one's reading 60 out of a 1000. Right, well that could be because what is underneath it? What's underneath that cap? Let me see if I can see what's reading. Ah, right. Straight away, it looks like it's... that could be because there's a transistor straight in the side of it. Up front. Oh, that's a shame. But again, it is. We are getting a reading. It's just a low reading. 56. 58 out of 1000. And all the others are reading 1000. Yeah, 1000. So this one is... I could just unsolder one leg and just quickly see if this is registering at 1000. But a bit suspect on that front. That is a little bit on the low, but like you said, that's a bit too low on that front. They'd rather go too low or too high. Yeah, thanks for joining. Yeah, you did stop me and popped in towards the end. Yeah, I didn't know. Sorry, bro. I didn't know on that front. Obviously, the time difference. Everyone said how good it was, so I was going to watch it after Mr. 8-Bit. Yeah, I didn't know what he was working on, so yeah, it was just that it got to about 5:30 in the morning, and I didn't know he was just ending the stream. Obviously, it was late. Well, obviously where you are, we was just waking up. Obviously, a lot of people were still in the land and nod. I'll normally just lay in bed with my phone, and because I'll wake up about 4:30, 5 o'clock. And then stay about an hour in bed just browsing on my phone, see who's on. Normally Ace, he comes on about 6 in the morning. That's for the UK, not where he is. It's obviously 12 hours in front. Right, I'm going to pull that one side of that leg off. I'm a little bit suspect of that leg being a bit too low for that front. I'm just going to desolder one side of that leg, like that. Lovely. Now I can test that out of circuit. I just want to see. I don't want to use guys. I want use guys on it as well, so you can see what I'm up against. Now I've pulled one side of that leg off and test that. Now that was registering at 60. Something like that, it wouldn't register. No, it's good. It's a good leg. So that means the transistor was pulling that down. That's massive. That's a massive pull down. Yeah, I normally watch Ace around about 11:30 to midnight. Bloody hell, you go to bed late. And I watch it till I fall asleep. No, I can't do that, otherwise it buggers. I mean, obviously Mr. Swindon's not been having great sleep. I can vouch for that. I know what it's like. When you suffer from sleep deprivation, it's terrible. Yeah, thank you for all that had been struggling, tried to get a switch light digitizer separation. It worked on replacing a PS5 Slim disk drive port replacement, and I've never even done one before. Well, that off to you, Mr. 8-Bit, at least for trying, sir. At the end of the day, so it's all. That's what I was just saying about earlier on. It's all, if you've never done it, try it. You never know what you're good at until you've done it. We've all got to learn. You will get there, sir. Like we've always said. You know, we'll all get there in the end. But you've got to try it. If you don't try it, you'll never. It's a bit like when James was actually first starting off on the YouTube channel. But like all of us, we all make mistakes. We're not perfect. We cannot say that we are not experts on this matter, and we only stress by watching others, learning from their mistakes. But you can try and learn from someone else's mistake, but guarantee that you can't really say that, because the chances are, if you know that someone said, well, I would have done that different. But yeah, but what's stopping you from still cocking it up and making it like a pig's ear? You can't, but you won't know that until you try it at the end of the day. So you know, once you get to that point, you've still got to give it a go, regardless. So yeah, it's going to be one of them things. It just can't be helped. But if you can't fix it, don't worry. Don't beat yourself down over it. Just put it to one side. Think, right, wait till my skills are a little bit better. I'll come back to it. That's the best advice I can give. And you will get better. The more attempts that you will try and do it, you will, I mean, obviously, we'll all get there in the end. You'll get better and better at it. Yeah, everyone has to know their way of doing. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, that's right. No, that cap's alright. That cap's good. Obviously, when I pulled that cap down, it was pulling down to about 70, 80. But when I pulled it out of circuit, it's fine. So really, what I should do is blob them underneath. Put blobs on these and blob them, actually saying that these caps are all good. The only ones that I can't read are them 3 caps so far. I can't get a meter reading from them. Now I might have to pull them out, pull one side of the leg out, and literally just test that. But these are good. So I'm going to put black dots on these. The black dots are good, red dots are bad. And it won't hurt them. That's it. All black dotted. Now, obviously I've written a bit of paper. Black dot's good, red dot's bad. Now I've got to try and pull. I want to pull this one side of this leg out. But I want to test it from this side. Perhaps I couldn't get a proper reading, which is these dots here. So what I want to do, I'm going to get the probe out. Yeah, this one's, I want to see if I can probe this. It could be because I can't get a meter reading from that cap. If it can't read that cap's gone bad. No, I can't read it. It's not reading. So the leg's good, but the cap is, unless the cap's completely dried out, I don't know. I'm going to have to try and see if I can pull one side of that leg out. Oh, I hate these because it's, you know, it's the only time I'm going to pull the plus side out. I'll pull the nearest side. Right, that one leg's out. Good, she's out. Okay. Right, I'm going to put that one side, that's the plus side of the leg. So, I'm going to probe that now and see now that leg is out. Let's see if we got a meter reading from that leg at all. She's not reading, she's dead as a dodo. Oh my god. That leg, don't tell me that cap is completely and utterly dried out. No, hold up. No, the cap's reading. The cap's reading. It's reading 1065. That's a good cap. So what I mean, now that won't read in circuit. So that's obviously the diode. Now that's the one that had the corrosion, man, the leg. Wow. That's the one that had the corrosion, man. It's actually a good cap. Make sure that you're not on the board and coating and scrape around a bit from the legs to making a good contact. Yeah, but that's a good cap. I've just pulled that out, and that's the one that had that corrosion around it. That is, guys, that is definitely corrosion. I can see it now. I can see it as clear as anything. It's only a little bit of surface corrosion, but the cap's good. There's nothing wrong with the cap. That was the plus side of the leg. Alright, okay. I wish this one was a little bit longer, like the lead. Right, well, I can mark that one there as a good cap anyway. I'm going to just touch that up. Let me just give that a little bit of a touch. I just dropped that temperature down a bit. I think it was a bit too fierce, 450. I've dropped it down to 370, which is fine. I think it was set at 450. I think it's set with too high. It was too fierce. It just, at that point, you've got to be careful because you just take the trace off. Mr. Swindon found that out today, taking that off. That's going to switch itself off again. That's good that it switches itself off now. I like that. I think that's great. Yeah, I think that was a good shout there, Mr. Pete. Definitely impressed us. So yeah, good set of multimeter choices, but it won't read it. So if that can't read, the chances are that won't read in circuit. So. But it should do. That's what I don't understand. You should be able to read these in circuit. You should get some reading from it at least. I'm going to probe it again. And see if we can get something from it. I don't quite understand why I'm not getting no meter reading from it. Oh, fuck me. Is it? Literally, I went to just read that, and when it went to read, it just cut off. No, we can't. Not 1 meter reading from it. Not one. Wow, I'm shocked. That won't read. Wonder why that is. Is that because of the diode? Do you reckon the diode will stop that from reading? I've never seen that before. These are diodes. You've got 2 diodes literally next to each other. I've never had that before. That it will not read. It won't read like there is. It won't read any resistance from the capacitor. That's just such a strange. That's such a strange thing. Yeah, that green stuff, I don't know what that is. It just looked like bloody corrosion. There's a lot of factory flux strapped all over this. Well, the cap's good anyway. That's one good aspect. It's not bad. Right, so I'm going to see if I can try it again. To answer that question, take it out and then read it. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I've already read that cap. That cap reads okay, even though it couldn't read it for some reason. It just wouldn't read it. It's like these Nichon caps. Nichons are really good caps. They're one of the best caps you can ever put in. They're like a high quality cap. But this one, again, it won't read in circuit. So unless there's something else that's pulling the resistance down on it, I don't get it. Let me read these others. Again, they're all Nichon. They're all Nichon caps. They're all 10 volt. So they're all like very low voltage. They're not very high voltage caps that's running on side here. We put these bits on this front here. But obviously, something's still affecting the value on the pot. I'm just hoping the pot ain't gone bad. If these caps are all reading good, then I can only put it down to the pot being bad. I'm just hoping it's not though. But pots do go bad. I honestly would have put that down to a bad capacitor. These are about 100 UF. I can see them. They're hundreds. $112. That's a good cap. What's this one here? Again, this is another Nichon cap. I think that one's about 100. Hundreds. So they're near enough all the same value as each other. So let me see if I can try and read this cap. So have a quick look on there. Probe it. 102. These two are fine. So we've got two fine caps on here, so I can put dabs on these. I can't read them orange ones. They're just not reading. They're not bulged or anything. The Nichons, they shouldn't do that anyway. They're pretty good. Well, there ain't many caps left now. I've only got 4 left on there and them 2 there. Then that's it. They're all done. Oh, and that one over here. I've got to test this one. Didn't test that. So again, same thing. What these caps are rated? I think they're about rated at 100. $1 UF. Are they all rated at 1 UF? That's 1,000 at 1, or 10,000 for picofarad. Yeah, they're rated at 1. What are these rated? 33s. Black ones are 33s. I can't bloody see that. It's so dusty, it's unreal. 33s. So the 2 blacks are 33s, and the 2 orange ones are 1000s. Well, that's made my job easier. Right. $33, that's registering at 36. Right. Let me see if I can peek that one over there to that one. That should be 1,000. 1,114. These two are fine. I think they're fine. Then I can only put it down to a bad pot. I can only put it down to a bad pot. If that pot's gone bad, 101, it's fine. These caps are fine. They are fine. There's nothing wrong with them whatsoever. 47, bit low. It's a bit low because it might be reading in parallel with all the others. $48. So 48 on that cap. and it's supposed to be registering at 1000. These two I can't read. So before I do anything then, let me pull one of these legs out and just see if it'll read. I think they are, because like I said, I've not known them. They're pretty good caps. There you are. Suspect. Oh, for crying out loud, is that pulled out? Oh, fat bird in the wire there. Careful. Hold up guys, I'll read your message. I need a fucking third pair of hands. Right, that's that now. Cool. I think that cap's going to be fine, you know. I just know that cap's going to be fine. If the other one wouldn't read in circuit, these are going to register fine. What are these supposed to register at 100? Hold up a minute. What are these registering at? 0.1. Well, that's right, 100. So there's nothing wrong with the cap. So 0.1 is 100 of capacitance. If it was 1, it'd be 1000. Yeah, you need a the laser silicone mat, I think. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's trying to get one of them silicone mats to put over on that front. Yeah, factory flux is probably half your problem. I'm thinking that's what causes 90% of it. That one. Yeah, but these are reading out of circuit, so they won't read in circuit, which is strange. But they're both. That one's registering at 0.1, which is 100, which that's right. And the chances are that one's going to read the same. They're Nichon caps. I've never known Nichon caps to go bad anyway. To be totally honest, I've never had that before. These are really good quality capacitors. If I was going to replace them, it would be Nichon caps. I probably would go down that route. They're more expensive, but they're much more higher quality of cap. Now I've got to try and get that bugger back in. So. Yeah, that's it. See? It's the only thing, when you take them out and these legs are already bent up, they're bloody difficult to get these legs pushed back in. So now you've got to straighten it up, which I've got to do right now, because you'll end up breaking them. They'll only take so much resistance on these legs. Then that's it. Then you're going to have to replace the cap. Struggling. Let me grab that one. This one's putting up a fight, which is the only thing taking things out of circuit. Trying to put them in circuit, take them out of circuit, especially capacitors. Ugliest things are to work on. week. Not the easiest. You think capacitors are easy to work on? Jesus. You try and read balding or something like that. Oh my God, I can't. I wouldn't even try to even attempt it. It'd just give me an headache. I even see Joey struggle sometimes, you know, and they're not the easiest thing. Right, is that back in? It looks like she's straightened back up. She's in, guys. She's in. Woohoo! Right, let me just double check. Can I see that leg poking through? Yes. Just double check on that front. That's going to turn itself off again. I just bloody know it's going to turn itself off. Right, let me plonk a bit of solder on it. There you go. Nice dab of solder. It looks like it ain't even been touched. Nicely. Is that it? I'm not sure. I'm still a bit suspect on that leg. We'll soon know, because if I put the multimeter back on. Oh, here we go. Oh, hold on. There you go. We'll test it, and if that reads, that shouldn't read. Overload or open line. Oh, great. Is that leaked? No. So the caps are fine. We haven't got a problem with the caps. Yeah, that's not reading in circuit. So obviously it's just glitching. So that cap's put back fine. Yeah, that's put back fine. So the caps are good. So really, the only way that I can put that down to now is a bad pot. Caps are absolutely fine on this board. It's not a cap related issue. Which I honestly, looking at most of them, they're all Nichon caps. Which is a good thing, because I'm glad that they are Nichons, because they're one of the best caps you can put on there. Up front. So let me put that screw back in. I'm not going to touch no more on this. So I can only put that down to now a bad pot. So caps are good. They are good. Which is, I didn't think that that was going to be the case. What pots are these? Because I've got a spare pot up there, and I've got some three-legged pots on these. But then I suppose you've got to use audio pots on them, because you've got all different types. These are VR501s, and the other one is a VR502s. Well, V stands for vinyl, didn't it? So, or is it, or the value resistance? Or that could stand for value resistance. The maximum is the 501. One's obviously, the 501 is obviously going to be for the LP. So that's the one it's adjusted to maximum, and it won't go down any further. So the caps are fine. It's not a cap related issue on here. You boogers. I've honestly, I had my vision set on bad caps. I honestly did. I honestly put this down as a bad cap, so it's not a cap related issue. Because obviously, I mean, it has proven it, because this board's failed. Obviously, I've got about 9 on it. It's obviously gone. And as soon as you've got these little tiny caps, but if they put nichons are really rock hard. They're quite a good quality cap. That's a high-end cap. Comparing to these ones, these are all cheap Chinesium. So they're not nichon. They're not nichon caps at all. They don't even say what brand these are. There's no brand name on them. Oh, that one is Elena cap. Yeah, ELNA. Elena. Who's Elena? Elena caps. So these ones have got Elenium caps on. Elena caps. There's quite a lot of them Elena caps on there. In that yellow. What about the black ones? What brand are these? They ain't branded Elena, are they? TK. So the other ones are TK and the other ones are Elena. Well, that says it all. Except for the nichons. The nichons are much better caps. Yeah, so obviously looking at that pot, have we now got a manky pot? That wouldn't surprise me for the slightest. And it's definitely this left hand one, because it's adjusted to the maximum, and I'm pretty sure that's the one I adjusted for the record for the LP. It wouldn't adjust down anymore. Yeah, that should be half the value on that pot, the actual pot itself. So if that's the case, I could add, that could indicate then that pot's gone bad if it won't adjust. The value goes up. We can test that. We can test. The good thing is we can test the value. So if I put that on, if we put that on mega ohms, which that's what we need it on, mega ohms. One pot on one side, one on the other. We adjust the value. We see what the value is. See what it reads. That's reading at 1175. Cool. I'm going to adjust that halfway. I know that's the LP. 1600. That should be roughly around about what? That's a quarter way round. It's more than no, it's 3/4 round. 3/4. 1700. Now it's at maximum, right round the other side. That should be 2000. No, 1800. And this one is registering at 1780, that's for the LP, not LP, singles. This one's registering, it won't go down any further. So it's 1800 k resistance. I reckon that's supposed to have been down to about 2k. Perhaps that's not enough to pull it down, unless, if that's the case, could that then, because there's some resistors around here, could a resistor have gone bad, not pulling the resistance down? I mean, there's two resistors right in between the pots at the end of the day. Well, that one looks like a 12k ohm resistor. I'll double check it. They're not very big, these resistors. No, that's a 12k ohm resistor, because the other one's just going wild. Yeah, that's a 12k ohm resistor. That sounds about right. These won't be very big anyway. Probably would be roughly around between 8 and 12. That one's registering at 323k ohm resistor. Double check it, make sure that ain't round the other way. I'll have to get the value diodes of the resistance on them, because these are got different markings, but that won't turn down no more than that. And that's a three-legged pot. I did have some three-legged pots, but they're big ones, they're not small pots. Let me double check, see if I've got any of them. It's them bogey resistors. Good. Right. Yeah, here they are. Yeah, I've got these type of pots on there, and they're 50k ohm pots. So let me just turn it there just a tad bit. Yeah, these are 50k ohms. .504s. These are 504s. I use these ones for the Atari. I'm pretty sure these are 50k ohm pots. Again, 3 legs, but that leg looks a lot wider, because obviously the Atari boards are a lot bigger. Yeah, that is. These are small pots compared to this is quite a big pot. That would alter the value. Would that bring the value down quite a bit if I use this pot, swap this pot over? Hang on, read your message. Double check that is a 50k. I'll have to double check. I'm pretty sure these are 50k pots. B504s. What's this one? See, they're 501s. Obviously, the 501 is obviously, it might be the diode side on it. 504s, I think they're a bigger pot, but you've got a bigger range of turning on the pot itself. Yeah, you should look on the pot itself. It should say roughly around about 2 kiloohms. I think this could be a bad pot. You know, obviously not suspect now. Caps are absolutely fine on this board. There's nothing wrong with the caps. Let me just read that if there's any markings on this board. It just says, all I've got on the one that I need to adjust, they've just got 202s. They both say 202 on top. It doesn't say anything else on the top of the board. And they are small legged on there. But we have got resistor. There's sort of like resistors, one at either side and one smack straight in the centre. But like I said, there's no other markings on this at all. There's no, it don't say anything on the side, because it's one of them type of really ultra thin boards. It's like that thin. But all it says on top, 202s. That's all it says. Now these ones are much bigger. These ones are much bigger pot, but they got a wider value. I mean, could that actually fit? That's actually a good question. Because the bigger the pot, you'll have a wider turn. Yeah, we'll have the written on the most common stamps on it. Okay, I can't even open these. Jesus. Okay, these are sealed up, just stay like Tutankhamun's tomb. I'll tell you, they didn't want to open up. Oh, here we go. I'm just going to pull a pot out. I want to compare them. Three-legged. Jesus, fucking one pot is. Yeah, it's massive. That's a massive pot. Oh my god. Don't think they'll even... Well, I might be able to get that one leg in, but these legs on here... Jesus, they're well apart. Yeah, I can't use these. These are Hung Yu. They're Hung Yu pots at the end of the day. Typical Chinese, again, obviously buying all these Chinese stuff, but yet that pot is massive. It well dwarfs it. When I say dwarfs it, I mean you can compare it. Look at the size difference. You can't put that on there. Obviously, it's too big. And the foot's way apart from each other. I mean, there's no way, even if I bent the legs in, you've still got to go quite a way to bend that leg in. I mean, look at the size difference. Jesus. No, I don't think I'll be able to use them. That's a bit of a bummer. They should be roughly around about a 2k pot. Well, there's not. The most that's going around is 1.8. And it's funny you should say that. I bet it needs that 2k to pull that right of the right existence. And that's not. The maximum that's going is 1.8 turned to its maximum. I knew that was going to be a 2k pot anyway. And I'll prove that because I'm going to turn the other one round, all the way round. I'll mark this where it is. Right, that's turned to maximum, and already you can see. Watch that meter, multimeter. I'll bring it in a bit further. Right, put it in mega ohms resistance. That's turned to its maximum. Let it go. This is the LP, the one I'm mucking about with. Maximum it goes 1.8. It's just 1.8, 1.822, and I think that's what it's supposed to be registering. 202. It's just over a 2 kilo ohm pot, and that would be about right because it was when it was adjusted to its maximum, it was near enough there. It just needed toning down just a little bit more, and I bet that's what that was. It needed just over. That's why this is over a 2k pot, and obviously this pot is only registering at 1.8, so it's obviously lost some of its resistance on that front. This is registering at 1.7, so I'm going to adjust this to its maximum and see where this one goes. If this one still registers at 1.8, 1.8, wow. So it looks like these pots are the original pots, but they've lost resistance over time. 202s. I think they should be 202s. That does make perfect sense. So this one should be. This one was the LP. This one was the single, which was up there. This one was all the way over to this side, which is the LP, and it needed just toning down just a little bit more, but it won't turn down anymore because it's it's the potentiometer is its maximum point where it needs to be. So obviously, yeah. Look on Discord. Oh no. Oh. Well, Joey's playing bloody what's named on it. Trim pots 2K. So let me just quickly have a look. Thank you, Pico. Right. Okay. These are 2K ohm 202s. Thank you, Mr. Pico. 20 of them. Well, at least I'll have a few left over. Where are they coming from? China? Yep, China. Well, if I've got to order them from China, I'll have to order them. I'll get them ordered now. Quality 20 pieces. I'll get them. Buy them. If I'm going to do one, I'm going to confirm and get that paid. Yes, because they can put that through. There should be enough in here to pay for them. There you go. It's confirmed. Done. Come to £3.83. Right. Now, obviously, if I'm going to do one, I'll swap out both. Because, obviously, they're both reading the exact same value. When I get them, I will test them. They should register, roughly, both, just over 2K. They should be 2002, which on that. And it's funny because that pot needs to be adjusted maximum on that front, where it's reaching 1800 on the multimeter. And I said to you, if that was just a little bit more, that'd be perfect. And I bet it just needs the top end of the 2K to tone that down. And it's a shame because it's literally that's what you need. But now I know that I've tested the caps with this multimeter, and there's nothing wrong with the caps. The caps are actually all reading good. The front. So I think that'd be the next port of call. Ordered the pots. So I'm going to make a note, shove a note on this. Tested the pots, should be registering at 2. They're like 15ish for 20 pence each. Yeah, something like that. You get 20 pieces. It comes to £3 something. At the end of the day, with shipping, at the end of it. But I'm just hoping that them pots, them ones on there, they will register at 2K. These are only registering at 1.8. So over time, obviously the carbon's been lost off the trim pot itself. And if that's the case, obviously the single's fine. It was the LP we couldn't trim down. If you remember correctly, I tried adjusting it and I said that's reached its peak. It won't turn down anymore. Well, now I've tested it. It's now registered at 1800. It's lost probably like 200 of mega ohms resistance on that pot, and I needed that 200 mega ohms resistance to turn it down. It would probably be near enough. If I said to you, that would probably be near enough turn to its maximum, if that was a good pot. Near enough. You shouldn't be able to turn it to a maximum, and obviously it's not. Now I'll put that down to bad cap or something, and obviously it's not. You just see me test it all. The caps are absolutely fine. So now it's obviously, now I can eliminate the cap issue. It's not a cap related issue. It's now obviously it's now going to be more, and it seems to be more common there towards the pot. The pot is not registering even at 2K. Yeah, you have to do lots of audio stuff. Them 202s, they're common in vintage and audio, having spares or to have a good thing. Yeah, you're right, because most of these, especially these type of linear record players, obviously this will be in the original. So like almost vintage stuff, that they put good capacitors in because they've used Nichon caps, which is it's always a good thing to use Nichon caps on these. But probably over time is obviously these things, like I suppose in that would make sense. You know, the resistance on them, they're carbon tracked. So I suppose in anything carbon related is obviously going to break down over time, like all vintage stuff. So the only thing I could do now, I've ordered them, they've got to come from Shenzhen, from China, is wait until they come, and then the good thing is I can test them before I put them in. Obviously I'll write down the values of these. The maximum on these is 1,800, and then yeah, the carbon is probably like bad or dirty. I would say, looking at that, I'm not saying that they're dirty. I'll probably just say they've lost their resistance from them, because the carbon wears down over time. You know, at the end of it, I mean, looking at how vintage this is, most of this time, most of that was sitting. It's in pretty good nick. It's worth getting repaired. Obviously, I blew the bloody chip up. Well, I'm not on purpose, but the chip went bang live on air. It did go over wallop in that front. It did make a good content though, so I'll grant you that. But looking at most of all this vintage stuff, this is going to be common on most of all this type of gears. So it probably would make sense that just swap them over. I'll test them, and if that registers about 1,900 or 2,000, they should register really just over 2,000. They should be 2,100 a clean pot. These are obviously not. They've peaked at 1,800, just over 1,822, and they're both registering the exact same site, the exact same. So by putting a newer pot on, I'll get that little bit more in the turn on the pot, which then that could then adjust the LP, just pull that resistance down a little bit more. So, but the caps are good. That's one good aspect. So I'm going to write a note saying the caps are good on this front. The front, in it. So yes, guys, it's 8:55. What I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it here, right, at the end of the day, because obviously people want to get back to bed, watch the footy, obviously, and because I'm going to now start winding down. But it's good that I've tried the new multimeter. Thanks, Anne. Yeah, much appreciated from a friend. No problem. So at least I've tested it. The caps are all good. So I can now sleep better. Obviously, thanks to Mr. Pico, I've ordered some of them pots, and we'll try it. I still think these pots have gone bad on that. So yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for popping in, Mr. Pico. Yeah, that'd be great if you could do your streaming on that front. Yes, and the lurkers on that front. So. Hot Cows was in. Anyone else wants a shout out before I go? We'll do. Yeah, bye everyone. Yeah, thanks. See you next on Mr. Swindon stream. Rick, thanks for that. No worries, my friend. Hot Cows, thank you very much. Much appreciated. So yeah, we'll all jump on Andy's stream. It'll probably be tomorrow when hopefully he'll get some decent night's rest and sleep better. But later on, I'm going in 3, 2, 1. Cheers, guys.